Well guys, ladies and gents, welcome back to the chat show brought to you by Moto ZA, the South African Renaissance, fueled by Weathered Garage and well oiled, very fortunately, by Liquimolly.
And cleaned up nicely by Prepsol.
There we go. So yes, today's the second episode. And I'm going to start off welcoming the Rees, Mario and Jenna Reeh.
Thank you.
And then to my left here, host, anchorman Derek Peak. Now, Derek was meant to be 6 years prior, but it only got around 2 years now. But in any case, it took a very long time to get to this point, so welcome. And really, thanks for being part of this.
Thank you very much for putting me in this position. It was our brainchild, but like you said, I think from 2015 already. And it's been a long time coming. But I'm glad it's come to fruition, and I'm really happy that things are coming together nicely for us, and it's great to have the Rees on the show, a wealth of knowledge between the both of them. And before we start, we've just got to say a big thanks to Dr. Andre Simon, because part of the show is because he was generous in donating cameras,
100%,
to assist us to bring this to life. And we're going to miss you. Thanks, Andre.
Definitely.
And then also, I think there's not a lot of mention about Ryan Shapiro. It came and went very quickly, so I thought at this point just to, I don't know, recognize people that was heavily involved in motocross per se. And I always had this thing in my head to say that, no one, people need to talk. Clearly, Ryan was something where everything always looked fine. But, so not that we are good listeners, but there is people. So it's, I guess, a good option is to
get it out there.
Get it out and get it off your chest or things like that. I don't know. That's just my 5 cents, I think. But, yeah. So I was told by Clive's Corner, just to inform you guys that we are building an online shop. And there will be discount codes at some point in the videos, either where, anywhere, everywhere, which will be valid for like 2 weeks after the show is aired on YouTube. For discounts on Liquimolly, Prepsol, whatever is on this board, we will load them as we get along. And yes, so I did need to say that, yes. I can.
Discounted beer.
Discounted beer, yes. Imagine Windhoek sponsors us. Yeah. All right, so let's kick off with our guests then.
Yeah, it's. I think not really knowing the Rees the way one would like to know them, and I don't think there's very many people out there actually that know you guys and know what you do, and know what you have done, and where you've come from. In the sport, so it's always difficult to put a face to a name, and we've ourselves walked past each other many times.
Yeah.
Hi there. Yeah. What was his name again? But at the end of the day, knowing who you are now, and what you guys do for the sport, it begs the question: where did this all start? Where did the bug bite you?
From the womb.
From the womb.
For me. I had no option.
I basically got into motorsport, motocross, at a tender age of, I think I was probably about 15.
Yeah, you mentioned.
Yeah. And my first ever bike was a ancient old KX85, and I think I was standard 6 or standard 7.
KX80 or 85? It was
KX80, sorry,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
KX80.
80
It was
yes.
an old thing, but obviously what I learned to ride on was a little old YZ80 with a radiator on the front of the forks, which I'd never seen before. I don't think anybody else will know about
Was it a custom bike?
No, that's how they came out.
Is it?
Yeah, that's how they came out. And
What model was that?
I think there was an 84, or 83, 84 model,
Okay.
but an old thing.
Byron agrees, so
Back in
that
the
is
day,
correct,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, pretty old. And then obviously I got
That's the
to,
white and red, pink,
Yeah,
white
yes,
and pink.
yes, yes,
Why is it for Africa only?
Yeah.
No, but it's very
I
interesting.
think so. I think so. So, but yeah, that's actually where I got into riding. And then we basically got to enter our first couple races, and then we done good. So,
And this is all, you must just have, so you are from Durban,
yes,
Hillcrest,
yes,
and that's where you grew up. And okay, so everything happened there at Hammersdale, and those years, what's that other track? By the truck stops, or the truck yards?
Kenridge?
there's Kenridge,
Okay.
High
Kenridge is-
stakes.
High Stakes. There's one in Ladysmith was Kangubu. That's where I learned to ride.
Okay.
Yeah, we got quite a few tracks out in KZN.
We had
Okay,
a
but
Shelly.
mostly-
Oh, you're
yeah,
thinking of
Shelly.
Springfield.
Springfield.
Yeah, Springfield, that's
Thinking of
it.
Springfield.
So mostly Hammersdale
Yes.
at that point. Okay.
Yes.
No, I'm just thinking now from where you started, how it all became a happy life for you. I mean, you must have been through some struggles before then, with regards to finances. We all know that motocross is most definitely not a cheap sport.
No.
Especially if you want to become competitive. And I mean, if you're a privateer, in inverted commas, it's even that much more difficult to actually get into the game and theoretically make a name for yourself. So from where you started on the little 80, the YZ, or you moved then to the KX, but surely inside yourself you must have been thinking, this is the shiz. and from there, you like I said, the bug bit, and that's it. And look where we are here now. So progressing from there, where did it go afterwards? Where did it all go well, should I say?
Basically, it all went well. When I left school, I decided, no, I'm going to go and try and do this European motocross thing, because I'd been seeing it all with TV, and obviously my brother-in-law, Derek Graham,
Yes. Okay.
he went over to race GPs. He was pretty good in his day, Derek Mad Murder Graham, and yeah, he basically told me I must come over to Germany. That's where we stayed.
Okay.
And I never really had the financial backing, so I had to go and get myself a job and ride pretty much once a week, and then enter Supercrosses and the Inter DMs, which is like now the ADEX series.
Yes. Yeah. You
And-
mentioned the ADEX, so.
Being from South Africa, the guys thought, oh, you got an international rider, let's give him a little bit of money. So until they found out I wasn't really that good, I wasn't in the limelight. So it basically, that's where it all started, you know. And then we were good at Supercrosses and the Woodcross.
Woodcross.
Yeah, Woodcross in Germany in winter. They make a Supercross track out of wood, and they use it on the bicycle velodromes.
Okay.
It was pretty insane. We
In the
did a couple
snow.
of those.
So wood jumps.
Yeah, wood jumps, wood
wood
whoops,
corners.
wood tabletops.
Really?
Wooden
Like the
slats.
mountain bike guys
Pretty
now?
crazy, yeah. Not like mountain bikes, but
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
they're similar, the trails
Yeah.
they do or
Yeah.
like
whatever.
trail tire. They warm them up with like an angle grinder. Never seen something like that before, but
If it's snowing, you race.
yeah.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Germany. Interesting. Okay. So, but now just coming back to, you started riding in 84, 85, correct?
Yes.
And that was at Hammersdale. And I did ask prior, how did you get involved in the sport? Did you know neighbors? Was there people with dirt bikes in your street? Or, because I think you mentioned something completely different, you know?
Yeah, it was weird. My sister basically got a scooter,
Okay.
and that's where I learned to ride. And then friends came to me and said, listen here, we're going to the one track. Come and join in. And that's where the bug bit. I saw people riding, and we got involved. And then obviously my dad thought that there was some sort of, like, I can't say talent because I never really had talent.
Yeah.
So, and then he bought me a new bike, and it just started progressing from there.
And then you stole your sister's shoes for petrol money.
Yes, that I did as well.
Really?
Maybe.
Oh, these are little stories
So
that
you
we.
see now. This is why the wife comes with.
I'm trying to keep it clean.
No, but why would you for petrol to go to the race or what?
Just
for
to go
the
and
time?
Turn his
practice,
back.
yeah.
Just go practice. How much
We
did you
see,
get?
we
Like
weren't
30
wealthy
bucks?
back in the day, but I mean, that's what it came down to.
I count my shoes. When he was racing, when we first met, I was always like, check my shoes.
Is it just make sure it's
Make
not
sure I was still in check.
Yeah, that very same story reminds me of a good couple of years ago. I was never fortunate enough to actually get involved in motocross itself. Yes, I've ridden in total 2 race meetings in my entire life.
wow.
But also made myself look silly twice.
Kulani or what?
It was at Zone, the original Zone.
Clay brick.
No, that was the
top track.
I'm talking about Clay Brick. Was the first time I rode on a KDX 200.
That's a
Yeah, I thought I could do this. Not so much. No, it was an absolute failure, and it was fun though. And then I remember shortly thereafter, I dipped my dad's prized possessions car. He had a 1964 Giulietta TI parked in the garage. I thought, it's easy to get fuel out of there for a buddy of mine's bike. You go and siphon the fuel out, and I forgot to put the petrol cap back.
I know.
So needless to say, when Pops went driving with the car, he wondered why there's fuel spilling out the back, and he found the petrol cap
missing.
on the shelf in the garage, wondered why. Needless to say, I never ever raced motocross again. I then started the commentary thing. That was about, 33 years ago. So it's always been an intriguing sport for me. It's always, and I know for a fact that motocross is the world's most strenuous sport.
Yes.
100%.
Bar none.
Yeah.
Bar none. You've got to be...
They would like to put football or soccer against
Never.
it, but it's two different disciplines
No,
completely, I would say.
football and soccer is dangerous. You break your shins and ankles and things very quickly, especially in English football. However, we're not going there. So the thing for me, I think, being an exciting sport, being a strenuous sport, being a you have to have a different level of determination to do this, and albeit whether you are small when the guys start on 50s, where they progress to 65s, 85s, and through the ranks, to have started at the age of 15, that was pretty late in life,
late, yes.
in comparison to what we've seen in the recent past.
Yes.
So for you to have accomplished what you have from that age of 15, that to me is something special.
It was also difficult because when I got to like 125s, I was racing against the likes of like Murray Smith, Paul Reed, and Paul Cooper was there.
Okay.
The Michael Trussler, like I said, Michael Trussler already.
Yes.
There were so many up and coming guys that
Had been racing for years.
had been racing for years since they were like 2-3 years old, you know, on
Okay.
Kiwis, and that's when they pretty much started, I think. So
Yeah, because by the time you came, I mean, Hammersdale exists.
it still
since
exists today.
Yes, but it started in the 70s.
Yes.
So it's a
Well established.
well established, 79.
Yeah, but now just a little practice track that Cameron DeRoe and obviously Van Wyk go to.
Okay.
They all make amends and go and ride there once a week. Trey Cox goes.
Okay.
But that's a
Off you.
man's track.
There's
That
no
is
jumps.
It's a proper track. It's
rollers.
Loops and rollers.
Sand,
It's-
right?
Yeah.
If I recall.
proper.
Sure. And then, okay, so first official race. I mean, I know you went with the scooter and stuff, but you started racing on 85s or 80s.
80s.
Okay. And that was with who in those days?
Was the Truter brothers. I had, Peter Rigglesworth. There were so many names. That Byron Siegel. There was Chad Smaniak.
And then
Yeah.
Grey Dick, I think you mentioned as well.
Yeah, Grey Dick, I got to race, or didn't get to race. I raced against him back in when we were 125
As a 1 to 5 things. Okay. So
at Supercross. That's where I met Grey Dick.
okay.
It's weird. Like if you're going back now, and at this stage, having forgotten some of the names that that there were
there's-
in
there's
South
so
African
many names
motocross.
now,
Yeah.
yes.
You mentioned
Yeah.
Michael Trussler earlier on. You mentioned Peter Rigglesworth, Ryan Hunt. There was, and all these names. Fast Freddie Fourie.
Bruce Robinson was racing back in the
That's Bruce the Boss.
year before me, yeah.
311 was his name, by the way. Was his number, at least. 311 was his number. I'll never forget this. From those years, the names were still so big, and just freshly into commentary in those years, probably been doing it for 5-6 years. The names that came up and that I saw, having known or heard of the names before, and now all of a sudden they're here and I'm commentating on them. Wow, it was something absolutely phenomenal, and for you to have ridden against those guys and been in the same era and as them, wow, that must have been something absolutely astonishing.
That's really cool because also, I mean, a lot of people don't get to see that you get the top 10 guys, anybody could win from back in the day. And everybody was on the same pace. It was more of a family-orientated sport. There were people stuck together, and I mean, if something went wrong, everybody would help you out on the day.
Exactly.
Because I remember in Syringa, my reed petals broke on my 100, so Carl van Niekerk, he was riding for, I think it was Enzan Kawasaki back then. He came and said, "You can take my bike." I'm like, "But it's a 125." Because they had 125 sleeve down to 100, and we were all on little KX80s with a 100 barrel. So I mean, it was a way different ride, and I said, "No, thanks. I'd rather sit this one out, not today."
Not today.
Yeah, not today. Yeah. But they're all good. There's so many different names that will come to mind, but I think being under the limelight, you tend to forget about it, you know, or the limelight from today.
Yeah. And it's funny, I mean, I don't know, I asked you, but all these names, mostly from Durban. And
Yes.
except Albertine was Joburg and Calvin
Euro.
from here. But,
Euro's now Joburg, and then there's...
Yeah.
but it's mostly, I don't know, the Durban area, it must be something in those trees or
In the
air or
water.
I think
the
so.
water.
Yeah, Grant Langston.
Yeah.
We went to a French international, and I remember Gerald and Grant Langston. They came there for their first time and just came to ride and see what they would do, and they were pretty much getting lapped
Yes.
back in the day. And yeah, Gerald Langston. Now look at Grant. I mean, he's accomplished so much for South Africa.
Yes, no, definitely.
Pretty much a big ambassador to the sport.
KZN boy.
KZN boy. Natal, as we say.
Natal, yes.
Wow.
Sign says Natal, yeah.
Natal.
Yeah, and we got to say big thanks as well to Mario for bringing the paraphernalia that he has, the camel bib, the Natal bib. These are things that were actually worn at the event. I remember the Camel Supercross series that they had at Sun City, and also for to have been involved in that. Now, to me, motocross is effectively not an Afrikaans South African sport.
No.
How do you commentate in Afrikaans on a motocross event?
Exactly.
We have to ask you that question.
Exactly. And trust me, I've tried. And no matter how I've tried, it makes no sense whatsoever. But in saying that, I remember watching SABC 1...
Total Sport.
Total Sports or whatever, where they had an Afrikaans in the days of Charlie Thyssen, and it was I sat there agog, and this is when I was 7-8 years of age, and I was okay, wow, but I mean I knew I could speak Afrikaans, and it's just when I started getting involved in this, I thought it just doesn't sound right, and now wherever you go, I think.
Nou kan jy die taal praat.
Yeah, ek kan die taal praat amper. But
Was it berm called again? You did do a couple
Oh my
Berm.
goodness, nee.
stofdraai.
Skynsdraai of bergdraai of something like that. But it just...
Afrikaans has picked up since I moved to Cape Town.
Really?
It's
Yeah,
impressive.
of course, that's another thing. Durban is predominantly English.
Very English.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. We had a little bit of a chat, I think it was last weekend, where we just sat around, threw some pointers across the table and had some liquid refreshment, which was really, really nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But to now, let's go forward a few years where you're on the 125 now.
That's right.
And then you got you got the opportunity to go and ride overseas, and you mentioned some international names that you were actually riding against. Guys like, I think, Pit Byra, you mentioned.
Pit Byra back in the day.
Wow.
There was like a couple of guys, Roland Diepold, Pit Byra, Monique Bewoots, all those guys that were there.
That's proper.
That used to come out for we called it Interdiem, which is international. DM is Deutsche Meisterschaft, and which is like a German.
So you're German?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm
Originally?
German. Yes, originally.
Because
German.
he pronounced that so well.
Speak, read, and
Wonderful.
write.
Wow.
So that's why I would try to go overseas and pick up and obviously race there and try and make a name for myself. But obviously not having the financial backing, we had to work a day job and then only get given a Thursday to race or go and practice.
1 day a week.
1 day a week. And then like when I got to ride against the guys, they would come there with their, back in the day, big fancy trucks.
Yeah.
And we only had these as scoros. It was actually quite hard to, overwhelming, if you could say.
Yes.
But
What
yeah,
did you do in the 4 days work-wise?
I worked for a boiler maker.
Okay.
I used to make copper boilers, which are like geysers that feed hot water, cold water in, and you get hot water out.
Are you a fitter and turner by trade, or
No.
you
but
just learned as you...
just learned by trade, yeah.
Nice.
So
And Germany you chose obviously because you are a German citizen.
I'm German,
or you
and
have-
my parents are originally German. My sister is German, and then obviously my sister Melanie Reeh back then.
Yes.
She married Derek Graham,
Okay.
and then went over to pursue his motocross.
Keep it in the family, huh?
Absolutely. It runs
Well, I
through
said
the...
motocross is a tight unit.
Jen, a little bit now. I know we've been focusing on Mario for most of the session so far, but the only way that I can see it, when you two met up, it must have been a match made in heaven. From your absolute love for the sport,
Or for me.
Mario. Well, yeah, and Mario.
Absolutely.
But only after you met
More
him.
motocross, yeah.
Yeah.
So for the two of you to have hooked up, I mean, gosh, wow, that must it's like I say, a match made in heaven. Now,
But you need
Where
to
did-
ask where she comes from.
yeah, no, we will get there. So obviously, Peter Maritzburg, Durban,
I'm a Durban girl.
KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal. Yeah, I was born and raised. Also racing family. My mom's side is the Backy family. So they all car racing, road racing. And then my dad's side is the BT family.
Oh, there we
So
go.
it's all
Yes.
bikes, cars, canoes. Speed. We run with VP through our veins. Chloe runs with race gas. She's up at 1,000 miles per hour every single day. So,
So you guys,
yeah.
so you were bound to meet each other at some point.
Absolutely. It was...
I mean, you're at the races and there's something.
yeah. We didn't meet at the races. I was working for...
I was actually away from motocross at the time. I was working for BMW.
Yeah, he was at BMW, Tommy John's in Pound Town, Gasoline Alley. And I was working in a bike shop called Rocksmith.
Run by Robbie Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, Robbie Smith.
You recall that name?
Robbie Smith.
Robbie
Back in the
Smith.
day.
Yeah, he raced jet skis and motocross. And I was working in his shop, and Mario used to come and visit, and I think he had the hots for me.
Uh-huh.
That's what he thought.
She had the hots for the younger guys.
And
Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
there's quite a big age gap between the two of us, and
Wouldn't say.
He looks so young.
I know, right? It's because he married young.
The makeup.
Makeup. And I wasn't very interested in him, but he just kept pursuing it. And one day I thought, let me give this guy a chance.
Yeah.
And
By that time his fingernails were off. I was like,
yeah, he was it's like, please, woman. And I let him take me for dinner. And we've been married 13
What
years.
was my chat up line?
He's like, call me old fashioned, but I don't own a hairbrush. But yeah, we've been together 20 years.
Gosh, that's and now moving along with your relationship and the love you share for the sport. I'm pretty sure at some stage you guys must have sat down on the couch, arms around each other, and you've asked him pretty much similar questions to what we're asking him now, just to get to know him a bit better. And hearing where he's been, what he's done, who he's raced against, didn't that just even make it that little bit more interesting for you?
Oh, I'm freaking his number one fan.
There we go.
Like, completely.
The screaming chicks
with
the pit
everything.
bulls.
The Motard, with the part-time street races, when we raced Motard against Brett Bircher, Gary Galway.
Okay.
Oh, there were so many names that I can't even think of them now, but that's when I met Jen and dislocated my shoulder.
Oh, shit.
I had to ask Jen, please just pop it back in for me. Couldn't even get back on the line.
Really?
I'm telling him, I'm not popping your shoulder back, and you must be crazy. He says, no, just put your foot in my armpit here and pull. I said, are you crazy? So I pull in his arm back in, goes and wins
there we
that
go.
race. So no.
No time for the medics, huh?
No ways. No.
Duel.
We've done some crazy races. We used to go practice pit bikes on a Wednesday. Friday nights, we would both race pit bikes, even when I was 6 months pregnant. Sorry, Chloe. Then Saturdays would be motocross or motard. Yeah. Then Sundays would be enduros. And then Mondays...
Oh, you did that as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Then Mondays we'd be back at work at Honda. And we'd work together. He would be in the workshop, I'd be in parts and accessories, and we'd go do that again. Like, that's how we've been for 20 years since we met. So.
Wow. So exciting for the both of you. I mean, the lives, and if you look back now, you especially, so if you look back and you think, would you have done anything differently?
Never.
No.
Never.
Ever.
Never. I'll never look back on life and say, what could I have done?
Never.
So
even if you struggle through it.
Exactly.
No
you have to
ways.
look forward.
We've been at our lowest lows and our highest highs.
Yeah.
And I would never, ever, ever change any of it.
You must
No
look
trade-offs.
back and
There's no turn-backs.
cherish your memories because
No.
that's what they are. They're memories.
And we've been through it together. There's no way I'd change any of it.
Wow.
Never.
It's awesome to know that there are still people like you around that have grown up with the sport from before a lot of the riders that are riding today were even born. And just to put you in a little bit of a picture, if you think back, commentating on guys like Grant Langston, Jared de Jager.
White Avis.
White Avis, 50cc, Pee Wee 50cc's.
Pee Wee class.
And the talent that was already oozing out of them at that stage, I was dumbfounded. I got involved in junior motocross, or in those years, kiddie cross first, when it was still at the Claybrick track.
Yes.
And Killarney was still up and running. So for me, it was exciting. It was something new. I mean, we're talking, like I say, 33 years ago. So for me, just to see the little guys and how quick they are, and I wasn't really aware of where Cape Town, because at that stage there were different factions of motorsport. There was this one and that one, and never the twain shall meet. So it was a mission to try and get a national together, just to see how Cape Town puts themselves against the northern regions.
Where you guys are.
Yeah, and we were nowhere. Cape Town was absolutely nowhere. Our first race that we ever went to go and commentate on was in Port Elizabeth, and that was the first time I ever saw Jared de Jager. There was Gareth Swanepoel, there was Lila Reserve, Grant.
That was my first ever national.
Yeah.
Is it?
There were so
Port
many,
Elizabeth.
and I was absolutely agog at how fast these guys are. I thought, okay, is this how it's supposed to actually be? And thankfully, once the powers that be, once they got it together, and once they raced under one banner,
Yes.
and once we were able to have nationals through the year, that's when you could see every single province that was lagging behind. Cape Town, for example, we've had national champions from Cape Town. We've got Cape Townian riders overseas right now, doing so well. Calvin Flandern, as an example, Caleb Tennant, also double South African national champion in the same year. Paul Cooper. Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
5 times British champion. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So from that perspective, it was a good thing that everybody got together.
Absolutely.
Did you in those years, was there something like that, or was everybody just, because you mentioned that it was a big family sport and everybody helped everybody and it was just boom, everybody together. So there was no segregation.
No, there was nothing. Not in KZN. Everybody worked together. Everybody was friends. If your bike broke, well, also in Joburg, if your bike broke down, people would gladly help you out and just get together. So, I mean, back in the day, I don't think cost effective like it is today.
That's the thing.
People still stuck together to share the costs.
Yes.
See, checkbook racing
Yeah.
wasn't as
When we
hectic
used to
as it is
travel,
now.
for instance, if we came to like a national in Cape Town, it was the likes of Rod Bergstrom. We all used to kit together and all drive in convoy and share the costs and do everything.
All right.
We used to come down to Cape Town and race.
BMX, we did the same. We would all, you'd see all the KZNers would all go together. SA champs, okay, we're going together, and we'd all convoy together. And BMX would always do the same thing. And right, we're going Sodwana, let's go. Travel together. It's the same thing.
It's the only Cape
It's
Townians
different.
we will do our own thing, each one of us.
I think it's just the times now.
It's the times have changed.
People stick to themselves now, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, even people from the same province, disappointingly, have too much to lose or too much to gain between them, and it's sad. Look, I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, how motocross was booming in South Africa. It was incredible to see.
But hence the sponsors, I mean, cigarettes and stuff, they pumped in.
No,
some
for
big
sure.
money,
But the amount of riders at any given national was phenomenal. A row of 60 cc's on a line. That's when they only had the KX60. That was the only machine they had. So strictly speaking, it was very close racing, very close together. And then the 85s, they had
double rows.
We had double rows.
40,
Yes.
40 in a row,
East
40
London.
gates, and then you had riders behind them. Where we were just having a look through the program in the Netherlands, I think it was, where there was over 100 entries per
500,
class.
yeah, 500.
It's just, for me, and that was what, 89?
89, yes.
Yeah. Now, when you're in a scenario like that, I mean, you were there. You raced those races. How do they? There's qualifying, I'm sure, or you do well in this race, and then
It's pretty much of a whole weekend. You get there and you have to do qualifying races, depending on how many guys are entered.
To them.
Yeah, and then you got your qualifying and then pre-qualifying races, and then that's all on like a Saturday. So, and then obviously you got your motors and free practice on a Sunday morning, and then your practice. Practice was Sunday morning, and then race 1, race 2
Okay.
on a Sunday afternoon.
And this, when did you go to Germany?
Sure, I left when I was young to go obviously pursue my stuff in Germany. I think that was 1989, back in the day.
Okay. And that was for...
My dates are so bad.
Oh,
But
yeah, 1989,
Yeah.
90. It's like 2 year stint, basically.
yeah, it was a 2-year stint that I went there for. And then obviously things didn't work out. My brother-in-law and my sister, they decided to come back to South Africa because he's made his money with motocross.
Okay.
And
Your brother-in-law.
yeah,
Oh,
Derek Graham.
Okay.
And then he came back here and he got injured in 1990, I think
I
it
think it
was.
was 1990.
But he broke his back, right?
He broke
Yes.
his back, yeah.
And I remember a story. He went to America, did well, and he had an
Yeah,
accident.
it was
He had
Dortmund Supercross.
Oh,
that
it's
he
in
injured
Germany.
his neck.
And then they said, but leave it. And then he
Yes.
came home and he said, no, he's not going to do a national year as well.
Had a
And
neck
then,
injury, yeah.
And then he hurt his neck.
if he didn't do that, well, you can't hindsight, but I'm saying. So, okay, so that is correct.
Yes,
That's why he's in the...
in a wheelchair.
Sure.
Yeah.
Derek Mad Murdoch. Where would that come from? The A-team?
He was just wild.
Yeah, he was crazy on the bike.
Yeah.
Very, very
He's
crazy.
still, his head's so strong.
He was on
still.
CRs, eh? CR 250.
No, why is it?
Was
Why is it?
My dad was teammates with him.
Is it?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well,
Small
you-
world, eh?
So which BT is this now?
Hilton.
Hilton.
Yep. Crazy.
It is indeed, like I said, match made in heaven. You've got so much to talk about. Gosh.
But not enough time.
Yeah, you see. Your stint that you did in Germany when you went to Europe, your first race, your very first race, you're in Germany, you're on the line. How did you feel?
Very, very wet because it was pouring with rain. And
All
coming
right.
from South Africa, they would cancel this meeting, and
No, not there.
no, not there. It poured for days and days and days, and it was terrible.
So mud riding was
Mud
not your
riding.
thing.
And also, I was never brought up with a 252 stroke, and I had to buy myself a 252 stroke because I took my 125 hand luggage because we couldn't afford bikes.
Okay.
So I took my bike that I was currently racing in South Africa with me.
What,
To
you
go.
packed it in bags?
Yeah, packed it in bags and took the engine hand luggage and off we went to try and race that. But obviously the 125 wasn't the right thing to ride against 252 strokes. So yeah, I basically had to buy a bike and try and race that against everybody else with these factory bikes. It's not
And-
going to happen.
And did you get any help there? Was it all your own stuff?
No, all my own stuff.
So you paid your way.
Yeah,
Wow.
we got tires given to us a little bit, but I mean it was pretty much
Okay.
everything on my
So
own.
there's no
my own
teams that
budget.
went.
No.
And now your favorite thing to ride is mud.
Yeah, mud.
And he can ride
And
Really?
I hated mud.
He can ride it now.
Hence, when we got back to Legends in Pietermaritzburg, what date was that now?
2017.
2015.
2015, sorry.
2015. That was the last time that I'd ridden motocross.
Yeah.
Well, since North versus South, but yeah, in the mud. And
In the
we
mud.
smoked everybody.
Crashed
North
on the
versus
start.
South. There's another one that since its inception,
Oh, that's fun.
it's been the biggest single day motocross race meeting in South Africa,
Africa.
ever.
I would say Africa, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And totally broken away from other parties.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
The camaraderie, it's just
Exactly.
such a cool event.
You were having a discussion with Anton Engelbrecht
Yes.
some time back, and you were trying to get on a guy's name who was
Joining the factions or whatever
who
you want
was
to call
who
it.
was instrumental in getting the factions, as you call them, together. Because in those years it was MSA, Motorsport South Africa. It was JMSA or Junior Motocross South Africa, or JMXSA or something like that. So you don't want to call them warring factions, but they were so far apart, and we never raced against each other. But then came Greg Kessler.
Kessler.
Yeah, Greg Kessler was his name. He was chairman of Western Province Motocross for a few years, quite a number of years, and between himself and the committee, we really tried hard to get everybody together. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody, the entire country. And it wasn't easy. The hoops that had to be jumped through, and everything that had to be put together and signed off, and oh gosh, it was a nightmare. It took 2.5 to 3 years in the making. But when it happened, I don't know. I know the brainchild for the North versus South was Mark Sangster, Anton Engelbrecht,
Phelps.
Phelps.
and Phelps. They decided that this would be something different. It's not a national. It's not a. It's a get together, just like in the US, the East versus South. East versus West shootout, which they usually have at the MGM Grand, and I could tell you stories about those races as well, watching it on TV and things. But yeah, that's for another show. So for them to have put something like that together, and I mean, you guys have been there all the way through, and to see something like that happen, where I think the most they've had at a North versus South was about 267 entries. They're aiming for 300 this year.
It's so cool.
No, it's
It
brilliant.
is so cool.
I think they should get that.
I think they should.
Look, it's and what does that do for the sport though? That then brings more people, more sponsors, more money, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't know how you feel about it, but but maybe then price-wise, it's not always a viable option financially to be able to run 2 events like that in a year.
I personally think it just gives that little bit of encouragement that everybody needs to bring that. Okay, motocross is actually you doing this for fun.
Well, that's where it should start. Well,
Exactly.
You actually doing motocross because you love the sport. And that's what you should go into every race like that. It shouldn't be all for the money. Yes, it's an expensive sport, and correct me for saying that, but you should be having fun first and foremost. And
I think
that's
from a
what it should be.
junior perspective, look at the time that goes into. I mean, and for the little guys, we always used to say, keep them off the streets, put them on a bike.
Totally.
And it's, I would never think any different at any stage, because, and it being a very, very strenuous sport, you've got to concentrate. It actually wakes something up in the little guys, which stands them in good stead for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
To be fair,
The discipline.
the discipline, the level of concentration that you have to have. Coming back to you, Mario, your fun aspect started when you were 15, and it was fun, and all of a sudden you realized this is fun, but it's expensive. So where did you start drawing the line? I know you still rode until, like you said, now 2015. You've done the North versus South, and wow, that must, and the Bloemfontein train track, of course, is a awesome track.
prestigious.
Yeah, but for you, there must have come a time where you thought, okay, I'm good, but I'm not that good. I'm not going to be able to make a living out of riding. So then your mindset must have changed at some stage, and was it when you met Jen, or before then, or after then, or was she a part of it?
Cheekily, no, not when I met Jen. I had met somebody before Jen, a long time before Jen, and
Yeah, but then you were 12.
yes, exactly, exactly. And basically, we split up because she wanted to go pursue her life in the UK, and I was busy working with my father doing fuel injection, diesel fuel injection, and as they say, young love, you do get to be a bit like fond of somebody and you miss them. And I told my father just before I did my apprenticeship, I said, I'm moving to the UK. And basically, I stood on my own 2 feet back then, and then started my own thing with Domino's Pizza. I called it Pro Bike.
Pro bike, yes.
Yes,
You
and
said
I
you
got
had a
it.
scooter thing.
Yes, in London. And basically just try to...
And didn't you have like 12 branches of it or some
Yes,
other?
I had 12 branches around London itself, and
Yes, yeah, okay.
working...
Fixing
I say
scooters.
my arse off. Yeah, I worked really, really hard. And yeah, it was good. It was lucrative. We obviously got involved with buying our own place in Wembley. So yeah, it was good. So, but the weather in the UK is not,
No,
not fun.
never.
And obviously with going from there, I got involved with a friend of mine, Glenn Dempsey. He now owns Gear to Win in Europe,
Okay.
in Lommel.
He was Calvin's manager as
Calvin,
well.
Calvin
Yeah.
Floren's manager.
In Dempsey.
And he asked me to come and help him work with the 125 Europeans and just get involved. And I said, no, I don't really want to pursue with motocross anymore. That's me done. And
And are you talking about 21, 22? What age?
no. This is back
Later
in the day, earlier.
Oh, younger.
Earlier. This is earlier.
90,
I can't remember the
before 95, because it was before the tunnel, because you were with Yamaha UK when Diana died.
Yes.
And that was 95. So it must have been like 92, 93.
Jeez, okay, that's a while ago.
Yeah.
Many, many years
Yeah.
back. Basically, with Glenn, it was not 95.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he introduced me to a guy called Jimmy Verburg, who was the original founder for FMX. And
Yes,
I
that
worked
you-
with him with Yamaha Belgium for it was short on a year, and I just couldn't take it with that. And then obviously decided, no, I'm going to break away from motocross altogether. And then I got a phone call from Yamaha UK. We were just about to head to Indonesia for a GP.
All right.
And they asked me if I want to take over working on the new development YZ400 4-stroke that's coming out. But this was prior to it being released.
Okay.
So I told them I don't have any
Experience.
on a 4-stroke. All
Yeah.
I ever worked on was an XR400 back in South Africa.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So they said they'd give me a trial run, and basically that's where it started with Yamaha. And I worked with them for a good couple of years. And
Yeah. This is in the UK, huh?
yes,
Yeah.
is in the UK. Yes. So we worked with the likes.
But that time you had the 12 stores and stuff. You did come back and then you go. It
Yes,
was like
yes.
in and out, not
yeah,
just.
basically I was in and out. So it was London and then to Belgium. And I stayed in Belgium for a year and then moved back to the UK.
All right.
And then that's when I started with Yamaha UK.
As a mechanic, like
Yes,
a
as
race mechanic.
race mechanic.
You were working with Malin,
Yeah, Carl Nunn,
Nunn.
Billy McKenzie,
That's
Good
right.
gosh.
Bill Shepherd.
Paul Cooper.
Paul Malin.
Yeah, Paul Cooper
Yeah.
was my last.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a good friend from South Africa that I'd known and raced against back in the day.
Were you part of his first championship? His what?
No. He was with Carl Presswood, and I
Yes.
think they had clinched their 5th British Championship. But the last year that he got to ride, I was working with him, and we were part
Okay.
of like a satellite Yamaha UK team, which was
Alright.
Iowa Yamaha. And he injured himself in Schwanenstadt in Austria, I think. It was exactly the same track that Pit Barra had his fatal accident and got
Really?
paralyzed. So it was pretty much a sore thing.
So Austria needs to be removed
Oh yes,
from the map.
yeah, from the motocross
Remove
map.
it.
For a factory team or Yamaha, in one for a better way of looking at it, for them to approach you to say, we've got this new bike, we need it developed, or we need you on board. You obviously must have made a name for yourself on the technical side of things, and having ridden, having worked on your own bikes, having put your own bikes together, and all that sort of thing. Yeah, that would stand somebody in good stead. But where did you actually start really focusing or becoming involved with the preparation of bikes and the development, because from a rider, yes, you know the basics. You know how to change a tire, a rear wheel, brake pads, take the engine out.
Well, that brings us to a story before you went on. You said your dad helped you initially.
Yeah, initially when I first started motocross, and
that ties
I
in
was
also-
watching my father change a tire, and
And the tire lever moved.
I even moved him in the cheek.
And it was
And
like,
he told me from then on, he says, you work on your own beeping bikes. And
And
I'm
he's
not involved
this,
there.
he's this big, like he
Massive
towers
human,
over Mario, and he's scary looking. I was always petrified of Mario's dad. Nobody could talk to him, but
but you did.
I did. I can talk to him. Mario won't talk to
I
him.
can't
I
talk
can
to him.
talk to
Still talk to
Mario's
that.
dad.
really?
I can't have a
Yeah,
conversation.
I can talk to you.
Then the
sad,
guys
but-
were never close or what?
No, never that close.
Okay.
But
Oh, but he's a
Yes.
big
And that was only
teddy bear.
because he got hit in the cheek with a tire lever.
Yeah, that's right.
imagine it was something
Yeah,
else.
to tie in with your, so you started off young, obviously,
Yeah.
with the preparation.
Yes.
And
I basically had to
Brickwork.
work on my own bikes, do my own piston changes, my own suspension back when I was younger, and it just led to that there. So, and then obviously working with Yamaha Belgium, we got the opportunity to work with obviously the factory and go and do all setup and dyno testing and playing with like engines and exhausts,
Yes.
ignitions, and then that led on to Yamaha UK. And then my final year with Paul Cooper was basically every Grand Prix that we went to, we would stop off in Maidstone, and the owner of DEP exhaust pipes,
dip, yeah?
yeah, DEP
Oh, okay.
pipes, he had a dyno, and every time because he was good friends with Paul, and every time we'd go, just before we get onto the ferry, we'd take the race bike, put it on the dyno, and if it was running a little bit under power, he would modify or make an exhaust
Okay.
pipe to fit that.
Really?
Paul had the same sort of setup. Every
So
time
full
we rode.
custom.
Yeah, custom
Wow.
pipes, custom everything. So, I mean, we had seen a lot. Spent, I'd say, in my life, probably 4 years on a dyno. Just the amount of hours that we had worked on, it was insane.
And that dynos, I mean, for it really does make a difference, huh?
Yes, definitely. It gives you obviously a starting point, and where you look at the graph on a dyno, the bike should always be exactly the same. So come to altitude, at least you know what to jet it for. And
Yeah, well, that was
nowadays
2
with 4
strokes.
strokes,
Yeah,
everything on a
for sure.
computer, and you change your mapping.
Fuel injection.
Yes.
We ran dynos at BMW anyway.
Yeah. That's where it all
Wow.
started. I think.
I know we could sit here and chat for days. To be very honest with you, the amount of the wealth of information that Mario brings to the table is astounding. And it's something that I wouldn't like to say everybody, but a lot of people don't really know. The way you've been, the how you got to where you are now, and all that sort of thing. So I think we can go and pay the bills now for a minute.
Yes, and do a bit of an ad break and
Definitely.
break away, and then we'll come back because there's obviously plenty more to
There is indeed.
delve into. All right, guys.
We're only halfway through the first page.
Yeah. I didn't get to tick everything even. No, but we are bouncing around, which is very cool, actually. But in any case, ad break. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you.
We'll be back.
We'll be
Hi guys, I'm Clive from Clive's Corner again, here to demonstrate you some liquid moly products, how they work, and yeah. So today we're going to talk about chains. We've got the liquid moly chain and brake cleaner. We've got some chain loops that we're going to demonstrate and show you guys how they work and how they clean, and obviously the properties of all of them. So we're going to start off obviously with the chain and brake cleaner. Obviously we need to clean the chain before we can apply any lubricants onto it. So with the liquid moly chain and brake cleaner, you can use it to clean the chain, you can use it to clean the brakes as well, any parts of your motorbike or car, vehicle, anything. It is non-corrosive, it has a very quick dry up, so when you spray it dries up quickly, it doesn't leave any residence, and it's clean basically alcohol. So just to show you guys how it sprays with a nice force, which is very cool. Cleans excellent, and obviously after you clean the chain, just take a nice cloth and just obviously wipe it off. So that's your chain and brake cleaner. Then we've got your chain loops. We've got the normal chain loop and then the chain wax loop, the white that we call it. So this is more like a grease, like a tacky grease type of chain loop, which we basically mostly use on your off-road bikes, your MX bikes, and with that actually rides through a lot of dirt and very dusty conditions. So the nice thing about it is it flinches a bit, so when you do ride, it does remove the dust and the mud off the chain with the flinging part of it, so very well for wet conditions, mostly for your off-road bikes. And then we've got your normal chain loop for the high-speed chains, for your super bikes, much less flingy. Both of them are fully synthetic greases, which is excellent. That's liquid moly basically. And then we've got your ceramic chain loop that we actually relaunched now, a new product that liquid moly introduced to the range. So the ceramic chain loop we use on your e-bikes, your bicycles, your motorbikes, any chain you can use it on. It's ceramic based, so it's very good, very high quality. It bonds with your chain, very good creeping properties, and obviously, as I mentioned, it's ceramic based, so it lasts much longer, keeps your chain nice and clean, very well for high speed as well. And yeah, so also really good for your linkages in the chain itself. That's the chain, ceramic, and then your chain loop and the chain wax for today. Cool.
Evans waterless coolant is the solution to boiling over, so you can push your vehicle like this, and this, and this, without fearing the temperature gauge. Evans waterless coolant. Defeat the heat.
Right guys, welcome back to Byron's Tech Talk on the Moto ZA show. Today we are going to be talking about some basic hand tools which you're going to require if you own a dirt bike. Now, unless you're Ronnie Mac or you bought yourself a KTM, if you've got a KTM, you're going to need chain adjuster. Depending on where you stay, You need a free state micrometer, or if you're in the US, a Mexican speed wrench. And you've got to get rid of those damn fenders. Okay. On a serious note, guys, we're not all Ronnie Mac. We enjoy dirt bikes. We want to maintain them. We want to get the most out of them. So, to do basic maintenance at home on your own dirt bike, you're going to need a couple of basic tools. Number one is probably going to be a little screwdriver set. Number two, set of Allen keys, metric for most bikes. Certain Austrian bikes, which I have named before, require some Torx keys or Torx spanners. And then on most bikes, you're going to need to get yourself a 1/4-inch drive socket set and a 1/2-inch drive socket set. That's going to be the basics that you're going to need. You're going to possibly also need to invest in a torque wrench, or 2 torque wrenches for that matter. One smaller torque wrench for your smaller bolts on your triple clamps, that kind of thing. Low torque settings in and around the 20 Newton meter mark. And then you're going to need a bigger torque wrench for things like your rear axle nuts, which range to in the region of about 100, 110, 120 Newton meters. Definitely 1/2-inch drive for that. Those are the basic tools that you're going to need to navigate your way around a bike. Like I said, these ones, unless you bought a KTM or your Ronnie Mac, don't bother. But we'll get into a little bit more technical detail at a later stage on specialized tooling, because there are some little specials that you might need, and there are some basic things that you can do with the specialized tooling. It won't set you back an arm and a leg. Other than that, again, like I've mentioned before, if you're not 100% comfortable, take the bike to a trusted race shop where the guys know what they're doing, or ask the right questions. But for those of you who feel confident to do the basic maintenance at home, follow us and we'll get you going. Until next time, have a good one, guys.
Guys, we're back from the ad break, and we'd just like to thank again our sponsors, Liquid Moly, Prepsol, Mechanics actually. And I wanted to mention something about Mechanics. So in this show per se, specifically, we are going to have a discount code for Mechanics gloves. I know South Africans aren't glove people because they can't feel anything, but it's not true. They've got very nice variety of gloves for all kinds of applications, right?
Yeah, look at my hands. I need Mechanics.
Yes, and all that diesel and
Free sponsor,
petrol and
right? Yeah.
yeah, no, because you get the 0.50s and there's some really cool stuff which you should know. But yeah, so we're back, and Evans Waterless Coolant. I must say something about them at some point, right?
I guess you do.
Yes.
And Prepsol?
Yes, Prepsol. Cleans like.
And
Since
it cleans the
1964.
it cleans the whatever there is on the wool blanket.
Yeah, no,
and these lovely helmets that have been painted, yeah?
yes, and Shane from Weathered Garage. Actually, everything you see here, that's Mr. Rutherford. Design work, you know, paint work, design work. Mr. Rutherford. Any case, so let's jump back into where did we leave off? I did want to ask though, you did win some races, right?
Just a few.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Just
but
a few.
Yeah, so was it 85s, 125s? I can't remember now.
I
actually.
won a 85.
80.
Yeah, or
80.
80 back
right.
in the day. KZN Championship and 125s.
Yeah.
KZN Championships.
Yeah, but those days, I mean, it wasn't like 10 riders there. There was
No, there was,
four gates.
plenty, yeah.
Yes, so
I
then
remember going to East London for a national, and we were literally 40 on the front, and there must have been 25 riders on the back. And the smell of methanol
nice.
made
Oh,
you
so
a
you
little bit
remember
goofed.
methanol.
Yeah.
And what castor oil did you guys use? Was it the R40 Castrol?
Castrol R40, yes.
You know you can still buy it, eh?
No way.
Yes, I've got that.
Not in the metal tin, though.
No, it's the
Yeah,
plastic.
yeah, okay.
Oh, was it a metal? Uh-huh.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I
metal
think
back in
that
the
is that is the most
iconic. thing.
smell
Yes.
at any given event is that two-stroke smoke. And
But with the methanol, it's got such
yes,
like a warm-
everybody stood behind the gates
Yes.
and just went.
Yes.
Oh, it was incredible.
dripping a bit.
It was.
eyes like
It's not the same anymore.
I must say the
Excuse
VP
me.
race fuel is all nice and well, but in a cold morning it burns your nose. It's quite hectic actually.
We had the same with methanol. My first ever time, it was Brett Redmond's like personal mechanic.
Okay.
His name was David Bowell, and he modified this carburetor for me on a KX80. Everybody was running a KX100 or sleeve down 125 to 100.
Yes.
And we tried this thing on methanol. And the first time I rode it, I was like, wow, this thing is like super fast. And I remember Brett Redman in Pinetown, where they stayed on the side of the freeway, there was an open field where the army had the like trucks and everything parked.
Okay.
And he came back with my bike and there was no mud guard on the back. And I was like, dude, what happened? He says, this thing just took off. And he lost the mud guard. This is coming from Brett Redman. So yeah, big respect to us for holding on to poor things, you know. It was a good laugh though.
Yeah, the whole. We've spoken about where you started, where you've been, but along the way, there have been some downsides to this sport. I mean, surely there have been broken bones and that sort of thing. What were your thoughts the first time you fell and you thought, okay, that hurt, and what did you break?
So I've broken a good couple bones, but never really legs and arms as such. But
Really?
my worst ever crash was Kingspark Supercross. I remember I was on a RM125 and I was racing against the guys like Grey Dick. There was Brett Redmond, Carl van Niekerk, Wrigglesworth was there. Everybody was in that field. And I remember getting a whole shot and coming. Normally with the Kingspark Supercross, you got this big crash barrier
Yes.
that people used to jump over. You used to go around the big light pylons and then come and jump back in.
Into the stadium.
So jumping back in, I was coming down the hill second. I thought I changed to third gear, but I never. And I cased this jump, and as I got up, Grey Dick landed on me, and he literally broke my hip and my pelvis, and that was my worst crash.
Sure, so, but that is quite serious.
Yes,
actually.
I was
It's
pretty
not
much
your
in
common-
hospital for about 6 months of my matric year. So
Oh, right.
I was quite bad, actually.
Jeez. But like you asked now, is that was it a deciding factor? Ooh, the sport. You know, some people they come,
No.
they hurt themselves, and they just.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So it wasn't
When I came back from, obviously, that injury, I was...
more cautious.
No, not at all. I was not even home
Pretty
for a
much
week.
even more
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
worse.
Once
I was
a
home-
racer.
I was home for a week, and my mom says, so are you going to go and clean your bike? And so I said, no, we're going to go ride the bike this afternoon. I've spoke to my dad, and we're going to ride. So
Yes. Okay.
my mom wasn't happy, but yeah, I think your heart grows fonder as you leave your bike for a long time, I think.
We've seen a lot of guys who started making a name for themselves early on in life. There's a few of them that have carried on their careers. Calvin Flandre, one of them, which you were so fortunate enough to have on your show. I think it was your first big show that you had.
Yes,
Calvin Flandre.
that's right. So,
Wow.
no, it was very
Would
fortunate.
have loved to have been here. But a lot of riders also, they show such a lot of promise at a young age. Gosh, we were talking about some names a little while back, and I think now at the last national in Bloemfontein, we were mentioning some names, the Ethan Boschies. I don't know if you remember names like that, Boschi.
Yes.
God, and there's just so many, and they've kind of faded into obscurity. Where I think from your side, when you made the call, okay, I'm not going to be competitive anymore. I'm going to start putting back into motocross what I got out of it, and from what we've been talking about, you've just had so much. You've been to Europe. Have you? Who was your idol? The guy that you looked up to when you started and you went overseas and you thought, this is really what I want to do. Who was that guy?
My rider looking up to back in the day, I think, was the Ricky Johnsons and
Really? So
the Jeff Wards.
Wow.
Yeah, from South Africa. I think, well, being my brother-in-law, Derek Mad Murdoch Graham, because everybody knew this guy was diehard. You know, but there was lots from South Africa, Brett Redmond, Scoreways.
and jumping in, Doug Moore was earlier.
Yeah, Colin Dugmore. He was pretty much earlier, but the same era.
Yes.
But he had moved to Europe a lot earlier.
A lot earlier. Yeah.
It was Doug Moore, Cooper,
Yes.
Albertine.
Albertine.
In that. So I think a lot of people classify South Africa as a third world country, which
We are.
we are. So but the
But
talent,
therefore, it makes it even greater. The
Yes.
amount of
talent we
people
have
in the
here.
industry.
got
We've had a lot
talent.
of riders come over
Yeah,
from,
for sure.
from
Yeah.
South Africa.
Huge talent.
I know, and it's strange that when you start watching motocross. I mean, I remember years ago, I was watching motocross and I was intrigued by it long before I was even commentating, long before I even got involved in, I wouldn't like to say motorsport. I mean, I started racing karts at the age of 5. So it's pretty much been in my blood since before that. What caught me was there was a South African, even before Greg Albertine, but it wasn't in motocross, it was Speedway.
Okay.
Now that guy's name, if I don't know if any of you have heard of him or know of him, his name was Denzel Kent. He was South Africa's best and one of the world's best
Speedway
racers. And for me, not being involved in motorcycling or anything like that, I was 4 wheels and I felt comfortable. And I enjoyed reading my back number plate. Without a mirror. But yeah, long story short, we went to Valcom one year and the name just for some rhyme or reason stuck with me. And we were with friends of ours and we were getting sort of winding down from the flight up, and we got chatting to some friends of ours and they said, oh, by the way, we've got somebody on board with us. He's doing our technical repairs and prep and all that. And I said, okay, fine. Who's this? Denzel Kent. I got goosebumps right there and then. He was since I was probably 6 years old, he was a hero of mine on 2 wheels. And this specific weekend, I was gobsmacked. I looked at this. I thought, I cannot believe I'm meeting somebody that so many years ago I held on a pedestal. And it became more apparent to me then how much talent there is in South Africa. If we look at the names from the years gone by, you mentioned Colin Dugmore. We've mentioned the Greg Albertines, the Grant Langstons, the Tyler Rattrays.
Yes, Cooper.
Each and every Paul Cooper. Each and every one of them has been such an ambassador to the sport for so long, for so many years. Still today, Grant Langston is still involved. I think he's good. Yeah, and just. We are now moving to. I mean, we've got Camden McClellan, who's overseas now, who is doing
injured,
so
unfortunately.
well.
No, I saw him.
And a good couple of years ago, I mean, there's guys like, I don't know if you remember the name, Liam O'Farrell.
Yes.
Also went overseas and
KZN?
Also KZN.
yeah.
But not only just
Sure.
the motorcycle riders themselves. We got a lot of like technicians, mechanics,
That's right.
managers. Like Albertine's best friend Ian Harrison. He's now one of the big bosses at KTM in America.
Wow.
You know, there's a lot of
Yes.
like scope out there that people don't know about.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking like that. I never know Kevin Tyler.
Kevin Tyra, yes.
Tyro.
Yeah.
He was a GP mechanic, and I'm like, really?
Now Kevin Tyra runs everything regarding
KTM South
off-road,
Africa.
motocross, like mini moto, enduros. He's there at every single event, working.
South African guy.
Yes, South African
Yeah.
guy, based in Joburg.
Yeah, he's at
Ex-
KTM head office.
Yeah, ex-Peter Marisburg boy.
So once again,
Also good at riding.
Alfie
Ex-KZN guy.
Cox.
Alfie Cox. Yeah,
Alfie Cox.
Alfie Cox. Sure.
Yeah, we've had our little chats with Alfie Cox, another legend.
Yes.
Absolutely.
In South African motocross, off-road racing. And there, I think that if you look at it, probably one of the biggest names. And to have met him personally, shaken his hand, you know, also so many years down the line, if I was to bump into, I mean, let's look at the sponsors of the National Series now. It's the Tarantinos. What on earth? I mean, names like that was only on TV. And there you get to meet the people in person. Yes. I met, the first time I met Yuri Mlimi. I don't know if you remember, there was a team years ago called the Roll-On Yamaha team. It was Yuri Mlimi, Lila Reserve, Leonard Peterson, and that was the team to be in.
Yeah.
Now for an African,
Not the
South African.
the jeans Yamaha. What was that? No.
Wrangler.
Wrangler, yeah. For an African South African, for a black South African to have done what Yuri Mlimi did in those years, gosh, he was a hero. And how he's come through the sport and what he's put into it with both of his sons.
He's a legend.
In the sport, and also South African. So we've got a lot to be proud of. We've really, as South Africans, got a lot to be proud of. I mean, for you to have done what you've done, and as I said earlier, now putting back in to what you got out of it then. So the change came. You decided, I'm done, but now it's time to fix things and to what is explain Total Control to me.
Yes.
I'd like to know what that is all about and how that came about.
Basically, I started a business in Pinetown working on motorbikes.
That's KwaZulu-Natal, I'm sure.
Yes, KZN. It's just outside Durban.
Durban.
Back in the day, we were looking after the likes of
Wade Young.
Wade Young. Who
So this is now what?
Wade was one of our boys.
No,
How
just
long was this?
Years.
It was
a
before.
year before Chloe was born,
Yeah.
2008.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Wade Young.
Wade
What a
Young,
rider.
Merrick Sparg,
yeah.
Brad
Spark, remember that?
Galbraith.
Tyler Rattray, when he came out from Europe to come and train in South Africa with Sean Ford, because
Yeah.
they were best friends.
Yes.
They all used to leave all their bikes at our shop.
Okay.
Yeah, we had lots of them.
Rui Gonzalez was also
Gonzalez came
with-
out, Rui
with Tyler.
Gonzalez.
Wow.
He's now one of the
Yes.
in
Dakar
Portugal,
riders.
Yes, he does
Portugal.
Dakar, yes.
Oh, Ross Branch, we did.
Yeah.
Ross was one of our
Okay,
guys.
so you had some.
Yeah, a couple names.
We had quite a few boys.
Working out of obviously our establishment in Pinetown, and then we eventually found out that we're pregnant. So not me.
We pregnant.
That's where Chloe came along, and we obviously moved our establishment back home to the house because obviously with a little bit of a financial
Yes.
strain on us.
Okay, of course.
And that's where I started working on just like niche sort of things like motors and suspension.
Okay, so that's where the suspension.
That's where it all started. So basically, we had met Michael Doherty
We knew Michael Doherty
through
because,
motocross.
but also my dad's best friends
Yes,
with his dad
Billy.
Billy, and have been for years. And Michael got selected for Motocross of Nations in Italy.
Yeah, many times. Yeah.
Yeah, and Michael needed a mechanic, and so Mario got asked to be mechanic.
All right. That's
and
now in Europe, yeah, for the
in Europe.
destinations. Yeah.
And obviously got in connection with the American, and you can
Yes.
then carry on.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think you mentioned Michael was involved with
Yes.
Total Control.
Yes.
Yeah.
Already.
Yes. And then obviously when we had done a couple Motocross of Nations with Michael, it kept on going. So we got chosen to go to Redbud
Yes, 2018.
2018.
Nice.
And we went over there and we based ourselves 2 weeks before Redbud itself in North Carolina, where Total Control is based out of.
Okay.
And the likes of Chad Newton, he is the owner, who has done work with like Practical.
Okay.
Cooper
So he's
Webbs.
yes, yes.
He's quite a well-established name. And we basically worked out of his workshop, done some work, and got to learn a little bit more about suspension through Chad. And that's just where the name came along. And obviously not getting our green cards into the States,
Okay.
because we had applied many, many years ago. We just kept it going. And then we asked Chad, can we run a Total Control in
satellite.
South African,
That's
a
it's
South
great.
African team?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, let's do this thing. So we've been doing a lot of like testing with Chad, bringing it over to South Africa.
Okay, so there's a direct link.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
like you
Yes.
just, okay, you there.
No,
and
no,
we here.
not at all.
No, we are in direct contact with Chad. Mario and him work very closely together all the
So
time.
if there's new stuff or shims or
totally.
something, you'll inform
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
When the new YZs, the 450s came out, they were working very closely together and
Okay.
working out things very, very
Yeah,
closely.
and a little thing with Chad Newton, he's one of, like, I can't say close friends, but he's like pretty really close with the owner of Enzo Suspension,
Okay.
so Ross Mayeda. So they are really good friends.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of technical like differences.
Okay,
being
so they're not-
forwards and backwards, so they are pretty clued up.
The share.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard a very interesting thing about Enzo. Wasn't it like a street kid or something?
Yeah,
Yes.
I told you that's where the
Oh,
name
you
came
told me.
from.
Yeah, where
yes.
the logo
Yeah.
With
comes
the
from.
logo
Came
and the
from.
cap and the stuff, and it was like
Yeah.
so that's very interesting. But so you were mechanicking for Michael at that point as well?
Yes.
Because Michael Doherty did spend, I don't know, what was it, a season, half a season, 2 seasons?
He spent 2 seasons in the States, but only focusing on the East Coast rounds of the outdoors. Because obviously traveling from east to west
I'm
would
sure
have cost
that's-
us a fortune. So we did all from, I think it was High Point.
High Point.
High
and
Point
then they go,
onwards, there
yeah.
was about 6 rounds that we would stay in the east side of America and race. But on little bit of underpowered 450s.
Yes.
But yeah, we would.
But he did well. I mean,
Yes, definitely.
I think, what was his best finish? 18th or 20? Under
He
20?
was at
20s.
the one Southwick National we went to. He was lying 10th, and practical on a factory Suzuki was 11th. And on the last lap, his bike expired because of electrical problem.
Yeah.
That
shame.
would have been his best ever.
Mark can ride a bike though. Oh my gosh, that boy! I've never seen somebody cook bikes like Michael
No,
Doherty.
he works them, man.
He abuses bikes.
And
Yeah,
he's
we-
a Dakar favorite.
Yeah.
We've
No,
seen
Yeah.
a lot of you mentioned the guys that have been on your team when you had a lot of riders, and all of them pretty much right up there, top line South African riders, and from Botswana as well.
Oh, I mean, Ross is
Yeah, now
fantastic.
we've also
He's a
done some work
good
when
friend.
Ross was for Yamaha.
Yeah.
We've done some personal work on his suspension for obviously training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was loving life. So he's such a
But
darling.
they're a good family
Yes.
and good people to know as well.
Good friends of ours.
And for buying a stock bike, these are questions from a technical perspective that I'm always very interested to know. I believe that you can buy a stock factory bike, you can make it as fast as ever, you can put as much power into the engine, but you're going to get nowhere because of total control, which you don't have. Now, it just seems strange to me that you buy a bike to go and race with, but it's not the best that it can be. Because there's always people like you who are the gurus of suspension, who will then take 15,000 things into consideration and put it together, build and put together a suspension for a certain rider, and there's 4 seconds a lap quicker from. So it's for me it's incredible. Like I say, you can have something as fast as ever, but it's not going to do you any good. From experience, speaking from flat track racing, 4 wheels. If you detune an engine, you'll be 2 seconds a lap quicker if you get the handling right.
Yeah.
Same sort of story, and
It's handling.
Yeah.
Totally.
it's
It's a very fitting name, I
Yeah.
must say, Total Control.
no
But
for
it's no
sure.
use having all the power in the world and you can't even get a start, because if you, for instance, have like super hard suspension and you jump off a start grid and the gate's a little bit higher, it
Yes.
bounces you up and you're losing travel straight away and your bike's not going to work. That's why people get whole shots. I mean, everything's sorted out for them. Power to weight ratio, it's going forward. So,
It's a science, huh?
yeah, definitely.
Oh, totally.
Definitely.
I just think that where to from here now? I mean, you've pretty much started riding. You've ridden. You've won races. You are, as far as I'm concerned, starting to become somewhat of a legend in Cape Town. Not only South Africa, but especially for our little community.
Go as far as a legend,
No.
But I mean,
this
you-
is but from
Good
where
traction.
I'm sitting, how many people that are at the track now know who Mario Reeh is?
plenty.
I think most of them.
All right, but now the guys from upcountry go to Mario Reeh. You're the go-to guy for suspensions, but where is this ever? It's, I don't think, when you've got the passion for doing what you're doing. You mentioned some time back that you actually like tinkering with engines as well.
I love doing motors.
Yeah, and putting it together, the little idiosyncrasies of getting an engine to perform as it
Yes.
should, or better than it could.
Better than stock.
So is there something in a sort of an avenue up ahead?
We have something in the avenue. It's pretty close to our hearts at the moment. it's obviously going to be moving abroad, but if it happens, we'll obviously plan on that. But at present time, we're going to just keep on going as we are. But yeah, to maybe get a few more riders and keep
Live each
everybody
day
happy.
as it is.
Exactly.
We can't say yes, we're moving now and burn bridges.
No.
We've got
We're going
to.
to try get our daughter involved more with racing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chloe has to get healthy. She loves racing. Chloe's been super sick this year. She got diagnosed with Epstein-Barr virus.
Really?
Yeah. So
Sure.
she's got to get healthy. We got to get her going and grooving on that 125 again, so that she can.
I was
rip.
wondering why she wasn't riding, but that's the first time I hear about this now.
Yeah, shame.
She's been chronically ill. So.
Yeah, so that's why she hasn't been racing this whole season.
And she is a BMX superstar as well, huh?
Yep.
Not just here.
So
Couple of
Chloe
world champs.
is a 4-time South African karate champion for fighting, and she is a world number 9 in BMX.
Okay, so where does she get the fighting thing from?
I did karate.
Just asking.
I did karate. My mom did karate. Both my siblings did karate. And yeah, so she did karate from the age of 6 and BMX from the age of 7. So
Mario, stick with her. Just saying.
She will protect you.
yeah.
So I don't know. Motocross is for me a wonderful sport to get involved in.
Totally.
Now there's a lot of ways across South Africa that one can get involved in. But I mean, do you know of, or are there any clubs or people or groups or associations, societies, name it what you want, that actually do start looking after entry-level riders that come in? I know we've got
Jan Ryan.
Jan Ryan is training youngsters and really
He's
working
doing a
hard.
really good job here in Cape Town. The likes, there's still, you got Dean Hoffman doing a lot of coaching as well.
Technical coaching.
But yeah, besides that, it's just come to the track and learn
Send
to
it.
ride and do it. You know.
Because I really do feel that it's somewhere to keep them safe.
Off the streets, out of drugs.
Absolutely, and I think that's very important in today's day and age. With I think the way the world moved pre-COVID, everybody thought life was a jewel and everything is fun and do as you please, but to have that, I think I mentioned it earlier on, from a young age, to have the discipline, the focus, the concentration, and to get involved in something like that. I mean, you at the age of 15 only got involved because you enjoyed riding a scooter, and then it was, okay, get a bike, then it was racing, and yeah, a couple of broken bones here and there, but it's just the whole way of how, like you said, you'll never look back on anything and change it.
Never.
It's been an absolute ride all the way through, the highs, the lows.
Totally.
And that kind of being a life lesson, learning from somebody like you and the both of you, to be fair, that everybody can, I don't want to say aspire to, but I mean look and say, wow, look at that. That's what I want to do. So to try and get motocross off the ground in South Africa, it as we said in the 90s, it was massive, and then it took a dip, and I think it's because of finances. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Post COVID, very few people have got the same amount of money that they had before.
True.
Excuse me. So, your thoughts on how do you think this sport can grow again? Now, I know it's a difficult question to answer, but it's a thought. I mean, how would you think that something like this could get off the ground?
I think if we all moved back one generation where we were all riding for fun and not paying like huge
Exorbitant amounts of money. Yeah.
Exactly. Just go to racing, you pay a certain amount of money to enter and become a family-oriented sport again, where everybody goes together and they have fun. You know, now it's just become so, I can say, professional, if that was it. And it's just become like ridiculous in pricing.
Yeah.
If people can learn to, like, obviously, I know it is an expensive sport, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Just thinking about it, we are not the Jed Lawrences. We are not doing this. Like, the rider is not doing it for a paycheck at the end of the day. So you don't need to go there to.
Got the dads working till late.
Yeah, you
trying
don't
to
need
fund
to
the
go there
sports,
to.
exactly.
The rider doesn't need to go there to pay his bill.
Yeah.
He's going there to get his therapy because it is a therapy.
Yes, no,
Let's
sure.
just admit it. He's going there to have
Bad
fun on his
therapy.
bike. It is a bad therapy, nonetheless. The parents might need therapy afterwards. But he's going there to have fun on his bike. Let the kid have fun on their bike and make it fun again.
Well, that's where it all started.
Make it fun again. I don't know how to make it fun again, but
Well, north versus south.
exactly.
Get
Yeah.
more events
Exactly.
like involved
Yeah.
or something like that. And at the end of the day, have proper regulated prize givings where the kids
Yes.
can get something back from the sport. You know, have a trophy, have somebody taking photos with a, like, here you go. Man.
Yeah.
Back in the day when we had supercrosses, you used to have these
Wow.
very good looking
As that so.
girls for
Is that so?
kissing. Get like a
Oh,
little
for-
girl.
so it's kissing,
It's a
isn't it?
kissing.
Okay.
I'm just saying, just get some girl there. Like a little kid, it'll be shy to do it, but still, I mean, it'll be remembered forever.
Is that going to bring the camaraderie back, the
Yes,
kissing?
I think so.
Okay.
We never know.
Yeah, I think it's been far removed from what it used to be.
Exactly.
I
Totally.
can recall that when it was kiddie cross in those years, where my motocross commentary career started, well, not career, but love for it started, was every single solitary person got something.
Yes.
Whether it be a medal, a little trophy, or something like that. So now lately, and the whole fun factor and involvement factor has been taken away. How many prize givings have you been to of late where you're calling names up and
There's nobody there.
there's nobody there? They're not even there to receive.
so, okay.
Because from I think from their perspective, from the rider or the team's perspective, it's just another prize giving. It's the same as last year, same as the year before. But go back 15 years, 20 years. And look at the spectacle it was then. We used to take over halls. We used to take over civic centres.
I still remember that from Hammersdale.
Yeah.
We
Really?
used to go down to the country club and everybody was sitting waiting for this prize giving to
Yeah.
kick off.
A big fat party,
It
actually.
was a big
It was
deal.
a prize
It was.
going and
It
everybody
was.
was just waiting to get
Yeah.
a trophy or a medal with like a lanyard and a medal. You don't get that anymore.
Yeah, it was.
big
It was
The
deal.
fun factor is gone. And
Yeah.
It's just my opinion.
No, for sure.
I agree.
yeah. Sorry, you were saying?
No, carry on.
Okay, now the next question I was going to ask is, knowing that motocross is the most strenuous sport on the planet, how do you get that fit to ride for 20 minutes, for half an hour, for 40 minutes? I mean, how long are the races overseas now?
30,
The
30.
GPs.
30.
Yeah,
30 minutes plus 2.
30 minutes plus 2 laps, and it's usually 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes a lap.
2 minutes.
That is insane to put your body through that sort of punishment for that amount of time.
And mentally.
Yeah, back in the day when I remember a mechanic for Paul Cooper, and we used to stay down in Portsmouth because that's where our Yamaha head office was based, and he stayed, I think it was 6 hours north.
Really?
And I would phone him up and say, listen, I'm coming to prep your practice bike and we're going to do some testing. I got some new setup for you. And he said, okay, I'm just going for a quick cycle. And Paul used to go cycling for like 150, 180 Ks
Wow.
a day on a bicycle.
A day?
A day. And I used to like drive there, get there 6 hours, and he was still nowhere to be seen. And I was like,
Still
"Where's this
cycling."
guy?" Yeah, I started working on the bike, and Paul Cooper comes in, and I said, where were you? He says, I just went for a cycle. You
It's
know?
quick.
That's what he's like. I mean, nowadays you have to be a finely tuned
Yeah.
athlete to take part.
Not sure.
It's just one of those things.
Because the next 100 of them are the same.
Exactly.
You know, so
exactly.
the competition levels.
Yeah,
are
like
really-
now when we were in the States, I mean, you have a look in between supercross races, you come off from your heat moto, and the guys are straight on a static bike and they're pedaling.
They've all
Just
got
to
their
keep that heart rate
masseuses.
going, or they have a massage just to loosen up. It's really, really different.
It's a business.
Is that why South Africans struggle more and more? Sorry, to get into the world.
That transition in.
I think so.
Yeah.
So, because we don't have all that.
No. We're not used to that thing.
It's
You
next
know, like
level.
now with you got your like Cam de Rose, they're going overseas, but here they're used to winning everything, being in the limelight.
Yes.
Now you go there, and you're not making the most of your like physical capabilities because everybody is so much faster.
Yes.
It has got some mental like strain on you because you think, am I good enough? But at the end
You
of
know
the day,
you
they
are.
are good.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to take time and get into that sort of rut and keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sometimes find what exactly what you said there with the guys that are out there, and you used Cameron Duro as a perfect example, that he's just there and he's just winning virtually every
And he's
single
a
race.
flipping good rider.
Absolutely. But I've always thought about it insofar as how do you get better if you're winning everything?
Exactly. You're not going to elevate it.
And of course, he's not exposed to that sort of competition enough for him to get that little bit better. All it is a second and a half,
Yeah.
maybe 2 seconds a lap is 10 places, 10 to 15 places.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody like Cam McClellan, he's now based overseas and he's
It's much more
constantly
seasoned by now. Yeah.
yeah, he's constantly got that pressure on him, and he's constantly busy with people that are better than him, which then gives him the mindset of, I've got something to work towards. Where I know that Tristan Purdon and Cam Duro are our two top riders at the moment, currently that are racing locally. But Tristan is also not here as often as he'd like to, or that we'd like him to be.
Yeah.
To be able to put the screws on Cameron Duro. Cameron is so fast that he even wins an MX1 event on his MX2 bike.
Yes.
He's done that before with consummate
Crazy when you
ease.
think
Yeah, he
about
did
to
it
be
in
fair.
PE. Yeah.
Yeah, so in saying that, therein lies a huge amount of talent. And
Huge.
now the family as well, look at Tristan Duro, how he's coming up. I said it in Bloemfontein International, where one family has got two sons racing. They both walked away with a red plate.
Yep.
Wow. That
That would have been their first time. Both of them together. yeah.
No, for sure. But I mean,
And the two of them train a lot.
Oh, they train.
They pretty much ride 4 times a week.
Yeah, and Natasha's got them dialed.
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
give him that. They
And
have
yet-
got a good
Yeah,
thing
her training
going.
regime
Yeah.
that she's got going is working for everybody.
Yeah.
And obviously
She's got them eating right. Wyatt's got them training
Wyatt
on
Davis.
track right. Wyatt. Right.
Riot, Avis.
Wyatt. Hired car.
Yeah, Vitifus, as we call it.
and there, you've just mentioned another name. I mean,
Yeah.
so many names from years gone by. Shannon Terra Blanche
Yes.
was another one. White, Avis.
He's also a good coach and trainer. at
Yeah,
the
he's
moment,
training
Shannon.
Jaden.
Shannon, yeah.
Jaden Proctor.
Yes.
Yes. I was chatting to Jaden as
Yeah.
well.
Jaden's improved
Yeah, he's also
leaps and
leveled up
bounds,
a
I
bit.
must say.
Definitely.
You obviously are involved with pretty much every single national
Yes, we
around
got
South
everyone.
Africa, and you have been for quite
20
some
years.
time.
We we travel.
We did 21,000 kilometers last year just to the nationals. Not pre-nationals, nothing, just nationals.
Wow.
Driving.
That's not driving from obviously our accommodation.
No, that's just to the
home
from
to the
home
event.
to the
Yes.
national. Yeah.
So being that involved in motocross in South Africa, you've obviously seen a lot.
Yes.
And from what you've seen and the level of, I don't want to say the level of riding, or but how do you? I mean, we were using Cameron Duro as an example. Before him, it was Anthony Reynard. Before Reynard, it was, help me out, yeah.
Before
Tristan Purdon.
Tristan.
Before
Lloyd.
Tristan Purdon, Lloyd Verkuil,
Slade.
Slade Smith.
Then
Yeah,
Richie, and then further back.
Richard van der Westhuizen,
Kieran,
Michael
Kieran
Oh,
Fitzgerald.
Kieran,
Michael.
Oh, Marky. Yeah.
Yeah, good old Michael.
He's now a professional golfer.
Yes.
And
No,
he's doing well for
He's
himself.
doing damn
Yes.
well.
Michael.
Yeah, we've also
Yeah, Michael
helped.
Cock.
Yeah.
We've also
we
helped
did,
Mark
we
Cock
did help Mark with
Motard.
Motard suspension.
And Motard engines.
No,
Jeez.
Done all right.
no, you've been involved, I must say.
So pretty much every South African national champion in the last 20 years, you guys have pretty much seen where they've come from, where they've
Yes.
been. I haven't had that much fortune in seeing them, knowing who they are, having commentated on them at least once, maybe twice, 3 times a year, not being able to go to all the nationals and that sort of thing. But every rider is always, I mean, there was Brandon Wheeler on an 85, or it was a Suzuki was it a Suzuki or a Honda? I think he was on a Honda. Richard van der Westhuizen on a Suzuki. Years and years and years ago. Tyson Engelbrecht, Sasha Nordia. There was... there's just so many names that I can remember, but having watched them from when they started to where they became a South African national champion. Kerem Fitzgerald, him and Craig Minards. Now, Craig Minards was a Cape Town rider that actually won a South African national championship on the last lap of the last race in Bloemfontein. It was on a 60, and when they were still racing 60 cc's. Now Kerem Fitzgerald is a well-known name in South African motocross. Been overseas, been to Alaska, Canada. Canada. Well, it's just as
Same
cold.
place, it's just as
Damn cold.
Yeah. So, and he's also been fortunate enough to be all over the world, and he's got so much
Talent.
and he's such a good rider. He's now training. He's now in charge of KTM and
Off-roads.
yeah. So
still racing off-roads, I think.
Oh, yeah, right.
and we lost that talent to. I think he's now in
He's doing
Australia.
off-roads.
I'm talking about Craig Minard. Somebody,
yeah.
guys that very few people that are riding today actually even know. We were chatting about riders like Colin Stoffels. We were chatting about riders like Noel Stander.
Yes.
Also ex-South African national champions, where they got there and that was it. They never went any further. Decided to go and open bike shops, bicycle shops, repair shops here, there. So how?
Because there was it's never going to be like America or Europe where it's going to be a business or work.
Where you can fall back into the line of motocross as a trainer or something like that.
As a paid, well,
Look, but
Where now the coaches and trainers have become a little bit more transparent because you need them. You need to work on your technique and your form.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean we've got some, and you mentioned them as well earlier. We've got good trainers here in Cape Town.
Yeah, we do.
Dean Hoffman, one of them.
he's one of the
very,
Yeah, totally.
very good.
We're damn lucky, actually, to have.
And I think there's somebody we could.
I was
tap
thinking
on
that
as
the
well.
other day, actually.
no, we will.
I think you need to get him back in on.
Yeah, I was
definitely.
literally
I remember
thinking
racing
that.
with him because I was never a good sand rider.
Ooh, and Dean was.
We would come
brilliant.
to Hammersdale, and Hammersdale was the sandiest track we've got in KZN.
That's right.
I would get the whole shot, and he would come blitzing past me, and I'll be like, I'm going to come catch you. And it would
really?
never happen because he would disappear. But come Maritzburg, we would also
Hard
get
back.
whole shots, and we would disappear. And just one of those things.
And it's
Dean
so
was such a
funny
good rider.
because Ethan hates Maritzburg. Ethan is exactly the
hardback.
same. He hates hardback. But give him PE or Cape Town and he loves
Yeah, I
it.
know, but
Shame. Give Ethan a good ride.
You
he
put-
will be the next SA champ.
you
Actually
reckon,
put Ethan and Dean on the show. Give them a call. They'll be here.
no, well, I think we
Yeah.
will do. I will do.
There's so many. I mean, even just in Cape Town alone, there's so many people that would be so awesome to talk to.
Absolutely.
Terence Monk, just one of them. Also been around. I remember saying probably 10 years ago, if there's a race, Terence will ride. He hasn't been around for a little while now, but even when he got married, had family, every single solitary race he was here and he was riding.
But also diverting from off-road to or motocross off-road to road bikes, you get Tim Basson. I mean, he's a Melkbos local. And
Yeah.
Yes,
I remember back in the day, Basson pipes, everything was like...
Really?
was
TBR
crazy.
racing.
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
Still
TBR.
going on.
yeah. Tim Bosson racing.
Yes. No, for sure. I'm just
He's
thinking.
like a legend down here in Cape Town.
No, there's people.
And good at what he as you are with suspensions, he is with exhausts and performance
Yes,
products. So we you're right. We are blessed with who we have here.
Yes.
Thanks to you, thanks to guys like Dean, Boston, and just to have everybody here. And I think since Cape Town started getting involved nationally, when we were allowed to, call it what you want, the standard of riding has just gone from, okay, it's Cape Town, don't worry, they're no threat, to everybody's looking and thinking, oh, we've got this one coming, we've got Reynard coming, we've got Jack Anderson coming.
Yes.
Also, now that the level of riding,
The faith is...
gosh, The when? The who?
Neil van der Vever.
Oh, this place. The Nitro Garage, or what?
Yeah.
What do
Nitro
we call it?
Factory.
The Nitro Factory.
The Nitro Factory.
Yeah, and we just have had so much talent out of Cape Town, national champions time and time and time again. And I think it actually started with the Flandrians, if I look back that many years, where both Calvin and Damon, his brother, his twin brother, were at the top of South African motocross. Since when they started, they were fast, and they were the guys to watch out for. And to have one family first and second in a South African national championship, it's almost unheard of.
Yeah.
It's almost unheard of. I can see it coming with the Duros, to be fair.
Totally.
But just with there where they started, I think they started upping everybody's game. And the guys in Cape Town saw, well, if they can do it, so can we. Then there was Minards, or before them even, it was Minards, it was Stander, and the Flandrians. Look where Calvin is now. It's just incredible. Hasn't won a world championship. He's given himself 5
He's
years.
tapping.
But he's
Yes,
edging
he's
in.
given himself 5 years. He says if he's going to win a world championship within the next 5 years.
It'll come in the sand.
He's coming.
For sure. And just that level of maturity from, he came down to Cape Town last year
Yes.
and he rode Zone 7 faster than I've seen
Anybody.
I remember that on that
It
Yamaha
was-
250.
Yeah, it was insane.
It's crazy.
And then now with what happened with Paul Cooper when he came back to South Africa, he actually took part in a few nationals.
Yes, for Kawasaki.
Yeah,
He raced.
and
But he hurt himself though.
Yes,
he had
he
a
did.
bad accident.
he
and
did,
hurt himself.
he did. And it was so sad because commentating on somebody like Paul Cooper, for me,
It's huge.
was wow, something. I remember sitting or standing diagonally behind him. Him and Dean were talking. Dean Hoffman were talking on the start line. He was sitting doing his funny little
Yes,
thing
he
with
always
his,
does that.
Yeah.
It starts
You
off
do
on that
that
finger.
too.
Yes.
And then it goes.
Then he does that, and then he
Really?
I used to
but-
do that
Yeah.
coming from Paul.
But
It works your arm.
yes, it
okay.
does, especially
Helps
with
with
those
arm pump.
fingers. And I asked him. I said, Paul, what is that all about? He says it helps me with arm pump.
It helps
said,
the
what?
blood flow.
I said,
Never
"What?"
seen that before though.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah, and I said, but how? What do you mean? He says, do it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it
Put
opens
that
up
finger
your-
and that finger. Put your arms up and just do that for 5 minutes. See how long you last. I was gobsmacked. I was amazed. So, but the little things, the little nuances that everybody brings to the game. Neville Bradshaw was one of my. I don't want to call it heroes, but also one of the guys that I looked up to that's worked so hard, has gone overseas, has won
He's done well for
championships.
himself.
Yeah.
I did.
He's
Still till today.
yeah, he's just two-stroke
Riding
king.
all this VMX thing.
And he's two-stroke, that's it. I mean, Honda bring out a brand new two-stroke, they give it to him to test. Nobody else. They give it to Neville Bradshaw. So there is a lot going for South Africa and a lot going for I mean, from my perspective, from Cape Town, that everybody's just getting that little bit better, But with that, unfortunately, it does get a bit more expensive. And yeah, I'm just hoping that there is going to be a renaissance. Soon.
I think so.
Well, in 2014 or 13, when I did that book, that was.
It was. It was almost a resurrection.
Yes. That's, I don't know how I got to that, but somehow I got to the Renaissance.
Yeah.
But, Derek, we need to connect Jenna with. I always like the story because I never understood. To talk about South Africans who made some kind of, how can I say, inroads in Europe and America and stuff. So, her dad, Hilton, right?
Yes.
So he is Parts Unlimited, or he works there, or however, I don't even know how it
He's
started.
the Global Motorsports Director for Parts Unlimited.
In America.
Motorsport director.
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
And yeah, I just, that's so cool, man.
So this
Parts
is how,
Unlimited.
yes, this is how you actually
This is why I'm
are
married to her.
so involved in motorsport in general. I mean, where were you not too long ago? You guys were track walking at a Supercross.
Yes, so we went to Austin MotoGP. What,
Moto.
like a month
Austin,
ago?
Circuit of the
in
Americas.
Texas,
Yes,
yeah. And we did
Nashville
Supercross, and
you
then
stayed for Philly.
somebody had to come home
to do the
Sorry,
work.
babe.
Yeah.
And then Chloe and I stayed an extra week, and we went to Philadelphia Supercross for my birthday.
Nice.
Yeah.
How many people can actually say that the guy had to come home to sort business out and
Well, the wife and daughter stayed.
for
the petrol
Supercross and for
heads.
motorsport
Yeah.
At 350 rand a beer.
Oh, really?
It got expensive.
$16 or something, huh?
Yes, 16.
No, it was cool. Like, we went in the pace car. I mean, that you would think Kota is flat.
No.
You go down that main straight and you go first
Through the dip,
corner.
G's out,
You
going up
G
that way.
out that first corner. Then you're going up. You go around first corner and you G out again the minute
Coming
you're coming
down.
back down. It is off the charts.
And that's in a car, eh?
That's in a car, in a
BMW
M4.
M4.
Yeah. We were doing 260 down the back straight, and the driver had his hand, because the sun was going in his eyes, and he's 240, and then down to 40 k's an hour, and you're still facing this way, and the grass is this way, and you've got a wall here, and he spins you around, and you're heading down towards the next chicane. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah, it was cool. Then the next weekend we track walking. It was just off the charts. Too cool.
But to be able to do this now, and now you're talking. Let's not go with the actual motocross experience of South Africa, of suspension, total control, that sort of thing. But on a personal level, you being the way you are and the way Mario is with motorsport in general. Or motocross in general, bikes in general, but gosh, just to have that, and also have that, you call it an ability or opportunities to do that sort of thing. This must make your lives just that much more interesting. And I mean, that's not the only time that you've been overseas to witness something of this magnitude.
No.
Look at that.
I've been
Jen
going.
was,
I've been going to motocrosses and supercrosses since I was a little dinky. Like I was pregnant with Chloe, and at a PMB National the day before I had Chloe, and they actually kept a path open for us just in case I went into labor, just in case.
You got your own ambulance on standby.
Yeah, just heads up, guys. Yeah, we've been doing motocross tracks and American motocross tracks for years. I've been to MotoGP in Spain.
But Jen was the first female manager for Motocross of Nations.
That's right.
Yeah, in 2018 I was South African Motocross of Nations, and 2019 South African Motocross of Nations team
And we
manager.
qualified.
And we qualified first time
That was
in...
Assen, no?
Wow.
Yeah, Assen we
yes.
qualified. It was the first time in 7 years that Team South Africa qualified. And I was the first ever female manager in
Redbud.
Motocross of Nations history.
Yes, see, huh?
Yeah.
Groundbreaking South Africa.
Yeah.
We will do it
Great
this
Team
way.
SA. Let's go.
No, but I mean,
Yeah, I had these boys in check, and my team was so cool. My boys
that was
rocked.
Lloyd and...
It was Lloyd, Anthony, and Mike.
yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
for Assen.
Michael Koch.
No.
Michael
Doherty.
Oh, Mike
Yeah,
Doherty.
so
Yes,
19,
Doherty.
18.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the pouring rain.
In the both races actually was in the pool.
Really not so nice to watch it that way. But I mean, but okay, it is...
Redbud was slop. It was absolute slop. And then Assen we were down to the wood actually.
And
in
Assen, where we had to walk from the pits to get to the mechanic signal area. You know, MotoGP, you see the little kitty litter where the guys go into. You think it's small little bits of sand. It's actually big stones.
Yeah,
like
it's
this.
like
Really?
rocks.
Massive.
Yeah, it's not
we walking
kitty
and we're
litter.
like, what is this? This is
Tarantulas.
kitty litter.
So, Ziggy, you've got an interesting question to pose to Jen about a certain legend in motocross, in freestyle motocross, in Nitro Circus.
Yes. And he always rode a
Suzuki,
Suzuki.
199.
199. So please elaborate if you don't mind. I find it fascinating. You don't hear about South African girls running around American motocross tracks and just, I don't know.
and being able to converse, and we'll leave it at that, with guys like the great Travis Pastrana.
It was like a summer fling. I mean, I was like 15, 16 years old, and he would phone South Africa and chat to me and just charm. Just gave me one of his jerseys.
Hilton had sponsored him.
Maybe. He was,
But I mean, that's obviously...
and he was still riding Thor at the time. Yeah.
Yes, and he had the number 199, but I do...
This
yes,
way,
that was
yeah.
beautiful.
And gave me one of his jerseys, and he would phone South Africa and sit and chat to me for hours. And yeah, it was just a little
a third world
summer
country.
thing.
I think we're doing really...
We've got a first world lady right here. So
Madam Momin.
something totally different and off the cuff. We with a pre-interview that we had with Mario last week.
Yes, Sunday.
Just in your workshop, garage, entertainment area, call it what you want, the amount of memorabilia that you have there, it also is astounding. I mean, I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, and Tony Caroli's top. Gosh, there was just so many, and names that actually came back to me that I'd almost forgotten about, that you have their actual shirts hanging all over. You picked up a bit of memorabilia.
We got some fresh.
Yeah, from
just
Supercross.
recently.
Yes.
Chloe hustled hard. We've
Okay,
got...
talk a bit
yes,
about
yes,
that.
yes.
That was
Basically, we've got what happened in Nashville. Little Hayden Deegan had a little bit of a crash, and he bent his subframe, and they threw the subframe out into the trash. And I told one of the Yamaha truck drivers that we can bend that in South Africa because it costs
we
money.
fix stuff.
Yeah, we'll fix it. We'll bend it straight. So he goes and grabs it and says, "Take it back home."
Okay.
He says, "Go and get a signature and get like memorabilia." And basically, after the race, my daughter Chloe, she goes up to
Duff.
the mechanic of Hayden Deegan, and says, "Please, can I have the number board?" And
With Hayden standing right behind
Is that-
Duff.
grabs the number board and signs it, and we put it on the subframe. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of things. She's got
Chases.
Chase Sexton's front number board,
Number board.
Hunter Lawrence gloves.
Yeah, Barsha
Eli's
shirts.
goggles.
Yes.
Seriously
I've got a
cool.
Justin Barsha jersey that was given to me for my 51st birthday.
And then
it's just the other day.
and
Yes.
Mario
Yeah,
also.
2 days ago.
Yeah, just
Was it
around
2
the
days ago?
corner.
No.
No.
I was gonna-
And then
year
Mario
ago.
also embarrassed the living daylights.
Out of everybody, even Michael Doherty. We go to
I wanted to die. Red Bud.
and Kevin Windham, who is one of my ultimate idols.
His icon.
He's on the start, and he's got this massive beard because he's coming out of retirement. And I go up to him and I said, "Kevin, can I stroke your beard?"
Can I stroke your beard?
I'm not a pervert, but I'm...
Firstly, who says that?
And I said to him, "But you'll never ever forget me." And till this day, he probably won't forget.
No, he won't
And I
forget.
got his jersey. I got a signed signature.
He goes up to the grown man and he goes with two hands like this to him.
Yeah, nothing there.
Can I stroke your beard?
But he's the ultimate legend, Kevin Windham.
you-
Ah, dig it, man.
K-Dub.
He is one of the
No,
best.
I just can't. I wanted to.
Everybody
crawl.
will remember Kevin.
I remember magazines years ago. I can't remember the name of the magazine, but the editor was Don Mader, I think his name was.
Transworld. Don
Gosh,
Miata,
could be
whatever.
Transworld Motocross.
Yeah.
Motocross, yeah.
Miado Mader. The stories that they wrote in those, I used to read it from cover to cover. As a magazine, very few people actually today read a magazine from cover to cover. It was just mind-boggling. They had sections in there of suspension setup. They had how to
very well.
take berms, how to position yourself on the bike to do this, to do that. I used to sit and read this and envisage it actually happening in front of me. So to see a rider that's riding properly, and when I say properly, the riding style as they're in the corners, the elbows up, the leg out straight, against the tank, riding sand on the back of the bike, all the technical aspects of how to ride, I can spot. I can't do it.
Yeah.
But you pick it up.
Too.
Yeah. I have a broken collarbone and 6 broken ribs to prove it. Being silly, trying to ride motocross, but then another story for another day. But just that magazine was amazing, and it gave me such a lot of info as to what it is to become a motocross rider, a successful motocross rider. And from
Guts and determination.
Yeah.
yeah, from your perspective, you don't win a race if you're a palooka. I mean, you've won a few races, maybe not many, but you've still won a few races. And to what goes through your mind? You're there, the checkered flag is there, you're on it, you're almost there, just before you cross that finish line. What goes through your mind? How do you feel?
My wife's going to kill me if I don't win.
Aha.
No, there's been a couple times that I've been racing where you line up like a shawi. Back in the day, it was one of the best KZN tracks that we had,
All right.
barring Hammersdale. It was literally in the sugarcane fields. And I remember lining up, and we had so many guys like Brendan Crooks's, Michael Trussler's, everybody. And you know from practice, I'm going to win today. You just
Okay.
got that feeling.
Oh, yeah.
You whole shot and you're gone. It's just... You get that feeling, and I don't know how you can duplicate that kind of feeling, but you know, when you come over to win, it's another kind of feeling.
Yeah.
I remember at Peter Maritzburg, my one friend, Greg Key, he was back in the day, and he had a pit board, show me, and Maritzburg, I was like so far ahead.
Yeah.
Had this one jump, and I crashed, and I broke the handlebar. And I couldn't finish the race. So I had to push my bike over the finish line. It's just.
But he would come after practice and be like, Jen, we're going to win today. That's it. We're going to win.
Confidence.
Yeah. And
It's a strong mindset, motocross.
No,
And-
it is.
If everything's in tune, you're going to win.
Teza, I mean, it's funny that we're going to Teza, our next national, but Teza would go to
Richard
Teza.
Moore.
And Richard Moore, I mean,
Yeah,
bless him.
rest in peace, Richard
Beautiful
Moore,
boy. Well, man, but he'd come to Mario and say, or come to me and say, Jen, how does he stay so fit? He mows the lawn. Because Mario would smoke him at Teza, just hands down, nobody could touch him. And the same thing, Mario would come after practice and say, Jen, we win in today. Nobody's going to touch us. That's it.
Just having a strong mind.
Just
as long as you fit.
we've got a feeling. He goes at the start and he does his little Paul Cooper thing. I'm standing at the mechanics area.
You did it.
I
He
did
does
it
it. He
from
still
Wow.
does it. In Bloemfontein, there's a video, and Mario's doing his little thing, and he
North versus
goes.
south, I
He's
did
got his. He does his
I don't know what I do, but Jen knows.
Yeah, you do.
He does his hands, and then he takes he revs here, and he puts his hand by the exhaust, and he puts his
straight.
hand by the exhaust, and he's ready. He's ready to go. Oh, he does his goggles, and he's ready to go. That's his little ritual.
So
He
you
does it
also
every
have
time.
your little ritual, and I've noticed
Every
this.
rider's got a
Every
ritual.
rider
Yes.
does it.
Like now with Lloyd Verkale, when we first started working with Lloyd, that's why we moved to Cape Town, to help Lloyd Verkale out. And our first time we got to the start gate with him, we're like, hey, Lloyd, good luck.
Yeah, go,
Everything goes
Lloydie.
well. And he's like, Mario, never ever touch me after I've done my
He does his little.
cleansing.
Is it?
So Mario comes in, he's like, go, go, go. And then Lloyd does his little cleanse again. And
used
then
to
I'll
do
go, Lloyd, you got this. And he's like, oh, Jen.
I've just done it.
Do it again.
just done it
Lloyd being
again.
very religious. I mean, he was also a superstar.
Yeah.
He worked so hard.
Chief as he could ride a bike too. Yeah. So
Crazy. He was one of, I would say, South Africa's big
Yeah.
guys, I think.
huge,
Yeah?
really,
I
really
think he
good
got South
athlete.
Africa in for Aston for Destination.
Oh, and
Yes.
No, he did. Yeah.
He
shame,
rode so good.
morning warm-up, he crashed.
Yeah.
And yes, he
They
had
were
the
pushing him
previous-
around in a little cart to go to the after party.
Yeah.
Remember?
Poor
He
thing.
couldn't walk. He had such a
And that was
big voice.
2018.
2019,
2019.
Assen, 2019.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it poured the whole weekend.
It was like a hurricane.
How does a team from South Africa get chosen to go to Destinations? How do they?
It's changed. It has changed
now.
now. The last 2 years, it's changed. It's now. I may be wrong, and I'm sure whoever's watching would say it's different.
have to be
But
diplomatic.
you've got to be within certain points, the first 2 rounds, and you have to have done however many
MSA race.
MSA races and international or international. So there's an either or now, and your point standing. I think that's how they're doing it now. Your first 2 rounds of the nationals.
So then obviously riders like Cam McClellan would
He would
automatically
qualify.
qualify.
He would qualify now. I think Tristan will
Depending
qualify.
if he's going to be healthy or not. 'cause
Yeah.
he's obviously
Yeah, I saw
coming
he
off a
broke
leg
himself.
injury.
Yeah.
And then of course Cameron Duro.
Cam Duro, Tristan. I see they've
would go
put
with-
Jesse as a preliminary. I can never say that word.
Yeah, but he'd be like, in my opinion,
A reserve.
Reserve, right?
Yeah. I think your ideal team for Matley is going to be Camden, Cameron, and Tristan. That's your team, 100% in my thoughts.
I mean,
for
gosh,
what it's worth.
I think it was 2 years ago where Tristan Purden hole-shotted.
True story. That
Yes.
was amazing.
And he did it again.
That was
not
in
once.
Italy.
Yeah.
In Italy.
Majora or something.
Yes. Yeah, the COVID year. That was amazing.
No, that was...
It was
Mantova.
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 That's it. Yeah, that was
I've got stories to
amazing.
tell about Mantova, but this must be an X-rated.
Oh no, that's not the time or place.
Special,
But I'll tell
special.
you a story about hurlings in Redbud at the start of the MXGP class. We're in the little pens that they give us, and
This just
with
comes to say everybody's human.
everybody's human, everybody gets nervous, and we're in there with Michael, the two of us, and Michael and Jeffrey and his whoever, and we're like, "What is that? Can everybody smell that?" And Jeffrey's mechanic is going, "Jeffrey." And he's farting like a champion.
He's laughing at it.
And he's laughing. And he's nervous. And apparently he does it before every GP.
Really?
Because of nerves.
Because of nerves. And we're like, dude, you stink. It was hilarious.
One of the world's top riders, Jeff Hurley.
Exactly. Jeffrey
Nice.
Hurley
Yeah.
farts
It's
before
just a
races.
human, huh?
Just totally human. Yeah.
We're all human.
Yeah. So we've seen our fair share at the start of races. Because we at every start of every race.
I've had Freddie Fourie.
Fast Freddy.
Literally, yeah, Fast Freddy. He was throwing up in his helmet. It was Motocross of Nations. I don't remember what year, but we were at some Belgian event. Was Glenn Dempsey, Freddie? I can't remember the.
Ryan Hunt, maybe?
No. Andre Dearden.
Okay.
Okay.
Andre Dearden.
Yeah.
And we go down to the start, and he's really starting to be sick. And like, what's wrong? He's like, oh, I can't be sick.
Really? Just got in the helmet.
Yeah, in the
go.
helmet, and then he's fine. Done.
Hundreds.
Off to work.
With that smell.
Okay.
No, but you lift the helmet.
Okay.
Oh, my days.
There again, some more names that I think a lot of riders today that are fast.
Andre Dearden.
Yeah, Andre
Yeah.
Dearden.
Was a top coach in KZN.
Absolutely.
Giving back to all the kids.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
But the nerves that riders have at the start, nobody can understand
No.
it. And I can calm riders down at the start, but let me tell you something. When Chloe started at her first race, I cried. I think Ruben saw me at the start. He's like, I don't know who to watch, Jen. I don't know whether to watch you or
That was here
Chloe.
at Zone
Because
7.
I've never seen you like this. You're always so calm. I can calm everybody down.
It's your own
Exactly.
kids. It's different.
It's the offspring.
It is. And that's why I knew what she was going to be capable of. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very little, much, or more to talk about, other than it's been absolutely brilliant. Reminiscing over where you've been, where you've come from, what you've done, how you still at the moment, both of
Involved,
you,
yeah.
putting back into the sport that so many of us we actually love it, and to have guys like you involved is brilliant. It really is, and I think Ziggy, it was a good call. Getting
Yes.
Mario and
Many
Jen.
more stories. but
Thank
I
you.
mean, that'll-
Yes,
Initially, he was not that eager, huh?
I wasn't.
It's like,
Yes, a little bit.
and then we got,
Yeah,
she goes, well, I've got a plan. We're going to do a tag team.
yeah. Surreptitiously got him involved, but it's
Really, it was because I feel like I told him, I met Mario at Eddie to race. I've heard the name once or twice in my life, and that's it. And then he popped in there, and then that's how the BMX thing came along, and then the suspension and things like that. So for me, it is as informative as whoever watches this, other than the people who know you, you know. So yeah, and I really want that mag. I want to show kids
Oh, yeah.
what a tablet looks like on paper.
R8.50.
R8.50, R8.50 for the English people at Intermag. Now I remember Intermag.
Back in the day.
There's another one here.
But look at the models on the back. That's what throws me.
Yeah. Oh my lord.
They have mullets.
Motocross action. There, there's a Don Miata, wasn't it? Oh,
It could very well be.
yeah, Don.
Gosh, yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Really been fantastic, and reliving. And when I say reliving, because every little thing that you speak about, you actually close your eyes and you can see it happen in front of you. And
Well,
and that
especially
to me
you. I
is-
mean, you commentated on most of these people.
and I'm not going to stop until I can't anymore.
You're going to now commentate on Mini-Me.
Yes, there we go. I can see it happening. But yes, it's been brilliant, and I think a lot more legends to come.
Yes.
On the show, and I do look forward to it. I think the more people know about the more people, if you understand what I'm saying, the better it'll be. And I sincerely hope that we're going to get a lot of extra views or a lot more views from everybody.
Listen, since we started, there's calls from England. I don't know those people. Somehow they find me and they go, "This is cool, man." And then it's like old 80s riders and stuff. And then we talk a bit. And he's friends with this Riley Gell, knows his dad. So I'm like, okay. You know, it's just like
That's very cool.
Very
you know,
cool.
so it's spreading. And people, finally, there's something like basing it, I think. It's more like a documented historic, what would you call it? It's just like recording.
Documenting.
Yeah, historically, because America does well and Europe does well, but South Africa has always been Michael Trussler. I mean, I don't know, is he still alive or whatever?
Of course
but,
he is.
Michael is,
No,
yeah.
and brilliant rider.
Yeah.
Very good
Brilliant
rider.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. So and like Dean said, well, if he talks, you will surely get Paul to come and talk as
Oh,
well. You know, so
definitely.
we'll elaborate and build and gaan mal, you know.
And when we do that, we might even get bigger names and
totally
let's turn
will.
this thing around. Let's get it off the ground.
Jen's father to come and talk.
Ooh,
That's it. I was
that'll
gonna
be a
have to- he
fun
comes
one.
Usually December, right?
December, yes.
We shall book the.
And he's planning on bringing one of the ultimate legends, Cooper Webb, to South Africa to do a surfing holiday.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he wants to come to Zone
So
7
we
and
can,
just
yeah,
check
we
it
can
out.
try some.
Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooper.
Cooper Webb.
Number 2. That can be very okay. Now see, that's
All he wants to do is come and surf at Jeffrey's.
Jeffries, yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Well, that is a spot, though, I must say.
Oh, yes.
World renowned.
Yeah, that's for surfing. Zone is for motor.
Exactly.
No, but so you will. Okay,
Sand
that's
surfing.
very. That's something to
That's on their cards.
Sands.
remember. Wow.
Right. Again, guys, in closing, it's been wonderful having you. Really, really has. Informative, fun, and I think that's what it's all about.
That's it.
Cool.
Very
Thanks.
So,
cool.
again, thanks to Liqui Moly,
Yes,
Pretzel,
thanks for having us. Very much. Thank you.
Cassidy Racing, Evans, Weathered Garage,
Yes.
and to you, Ziggy.
Yes, thank you,
to you.
Ziggy.
Derek, and thank you.
Thank you, Derek.
Yes.
Thank you.
That was really. I'm quiet now. So
We'll see you for the next one.
Thanks, guys.
let's do that. So how do you do that thing? Teach
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Super.
Water. For 100 years, we've used water mixed with conventional antifreeze to cool engines because nothing transfers heat better. But water's limitations present multiple challenges. For starters, water's low boiling point can lead to steam generation and an overheated engine, is the root cause of corrosion in your engine, and supports electrolysis, where water acts like a conductor, allowing an electrochemical charge between dissimilar metals that can degrade your radiator over time. For decades, drivers and auto enthusiasts have searched for ways to overcome these age-old issues, but until now, there hasn't been a viable solution. Enter Evans Waterless Coolant. While most coolants today contain 50% water, Evans doesn't use it at all. Evans features a revolutionary water-free formula that prevents corrosion and doesn't support electrolysis, meaning it won't eat away at engine metals. The biggest difference, though, is Evans' boiling point, 375 degrees, which is far higher than water's at 212 degrees and regular coolants at 235. Unlike water-based coolants, this means Evans won't form vapor in your engine. Why is that important? Because vapor pockets forming between liquid coolant and metal components create a barrier that prevents heat from being drawn away from the engine, which is a coolant's job in the first place. Water conducts heat extremely well as long as it remains a liquid. But quickly and without notice, vaporization takes away nearly all of water's capacity to transfer heat. With vapor existing between engine metals and liquid coolant, hot spots develop in the metal. Pressure builds, the coolant begins to boil, and the engine overheats. When engines overheat, people are stranded on the side of the road, get stuck out in the woods, and lose races. Overheating can ruin not only your day, but under the surface, ruin your engine. Evans is safer and more stable than traditional coolants because it prevents the high pressure levels that lead to boilovers and volcanic radiator eruptions, meaning hoses, seals, and gaskets are less likely to leak and will last longer. From cars to trucks to motorcycles, Evans is an enabler. It allows safe, consistent, and efficient operation in temperature ranges that are simply unreachable with water. Evans handles extreme conditions that put stress on your engine, such as high heat, heavy loads, or blockages that disrupt airflow to the radiator. With Evans, your operating ceiling is raised. Evans does its job well past the point where other coolants fail, even in situations where performance isn't your main objective, such as with classic or vintage cars. Evans helps preserve the engine by eliminating the long-term corrosive effects of water, which is exactly why collectors and museums use Evans to protect their investments. What all this adds up to is the safest, most efficient, and most reliable coolant available. Whether idling in traffic, off-roading, or racing, drivers and riders finally have a solution to the problem water presents. Evans waterless coolant provides permanent protection, reduced maintenance, and enhanced performance, even under the most extreme conditions. Learn more and find out where you can get yours at www.evanscoolant.com.